The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
To become who we are. This is my moment. I got a most exciting time. It's all about humanity. About humanity.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GC Community Cup Rainbow Six Siege, brought to you by Display Partner Samsung, partners WD Black, Colorful, and Games the Shop. And a huge shout out to NVIDIA as well to make this tournament come to life. And talking about coming to life, Reckoning Esports are gonna have their semi-final matchup, and I just cannot wait, Serenius, because this has to be one of the more awaited games of the tournament. To have seen Reckoning yesterday with a very new strat book, with a very aggressive strat book, and now they're gonna take Phoenix up in their semi-final matchup, which, like you said, are an experienced team. But this is going to be one hell of a bloodbath to decide who's going to be our second finalist to join us alongside TBD.
um, with CBG, who has already made it to the semifinals, and now it's up to whether Reckoning Esports or Phoenix. One of them has to make it to the semifinals, and we are yet to see that. Considering how Phoenix has a team of very experienced players, most likely most of them are high plats. And Reckoning, as we saw yesterday, has been coached, and once again they have a lot of. They also have a lot of experienced players and with aggressive strats and a lot of good coordination. So this is going to be a hell of a fight. What do you think, OG?
I feel like the addition of the coach removes a lot of stress and nerves from the players, especially the in game leader. For putting it into a more technical standpoint, a coach, as an addition to a team, not only helps in improving team strategy, he also helps bring in team synergy. He tries to get the chemistry rolling in between these players by explaining to each and every one of them what the strat actually is and what their individual play should be in the strat. And he will give the overall arc to the in-game leader. So the in-game leader will know how much of a deviation there is to how the strat was designed to how it's being executed. And overall, it's a very invaluable resource which many teams do overlook, or even if they don't, they might not have the necessary uh, prerequisites to get a coach. So having a coach definitely will help in cooling the players' nerves and also supplementing the in-game leader's value, right? You always will have not only pocket strats for your team, but also when you start getting countered, you'll know exactly what's happening and how it's going to happen. So you'll always be a few steps ahead of your opposition, which at the end of the day, if you know anything about Siege, one step is enough to take your opposition down. A couple of steps is more than enough to secure you a win, which is what I'm expecting. What do you think? How do you think this semifinals matchup is going to go? For me, I feel like it might be a 2-1. I'll give Phoenix the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like Reckoning have this in the bag. What do you say, Siri?
As you said, it could be a 2-1, but let's just see because Phoenix, like we, from what I know so far, they are also as good as the team, the Reckoning Esports, and knowing the players, they have a lot of good players, uh, especially True and everyone else. I feel like they might see a change in the tables. As always, Siege is one of those games where you require timing and time management and when to push and what to do. Even if you have good strats, it's all up to the coordination performed by the team.
Exactly. And for those who are, it's not only me and Siri who are going to play the pick game where we try and see who has the edge and who might take the map. For those in chat, for those in stream, do leave a hashtag reckoning or a hashtag Phoenix. Let's see which team you support and let's see how the maps look like. It seems like we have Coastline, Border, and Villa. I'm really interested to see how Villa is going to play out because I feel like that's a map that people don't give enough priority to. Coastline and Border, they're, I guess, our favorite maps, at least in this side of the world, where you see a lot of border. Coastline, again, you see a couple of teams that really like Coastline, and you see a couple of teams that just might pick it, but it's not their primary map. So it's somewhat of a backup for most of these teams which don't have uh, Coastline as a primary map, but not like it can't be played by everybody else, right? It's more of a map like, meh, if I have to, I would, but if I had the choice, I wouldn't.
Coastline, I feel like, is one of those maps where I would say it is. Uh, Sometimes it can become an attacker sided map, yes, of course, in one of those places, especially in the hookah bomb site. defenders are left. I mean, unless they're roaming towards the VIP area, that attackers, it's quite easy for the attackers to just to push into the VIP and let's just say take over the place and wait for anybody to rush through hookah and that corridor. Let's just talk about. I mean, I'm just talking about the strats that could possibly happen, but let's just see. Once again, we have very strong teams on the match today, Phoenix versus the Reckoning Esports, and I'm very eager to see what kind of high-end strats and drafts they come up with, especially in Coastline, which always depends on how you play. Like in some of the matches like Cafe and Border, it's mostly defender sided, but Coastline, in my personal opinion, it depends on the team actually who is playing what.
So, what are you anticipating when it comes to the ban phase? Because, like you said, Coastline is a little different from what the conventional maps feel like, where Coastline is a little more attacker oriented. So, you might expect a different draft coming into the picture, right? What do you think will be removed early from the equation?
Of course. First, I would say a meta ban is needed when it's up to like when people are playing kitchen, or let's just say when people are actually playing hookah. You have to sometimes ban mira. Mira is a good ban in this map, and also Jackal. Jackal, as always, people fear his Inox model, which sits on the top of his head. Other than that, I would say banning Maestro, any operator who goes for the information, like the collection of the information, like Maestro and others, they could be banned. But I can also suspect a ban on Pulse because I can feel that there would be a vertical gameplay if the defenders go for the hookah bomb site, and there will be a possible roaming by Pulse in the kitchen area. So of course Pulse, I would love to see a Pulse ban as well. I mean, that will be really interesting to see that. However, I mean, there is no need for hard breachers in Coastline, as people don't really focus on a lot of reinforcing the walls, but there are, especially Hibana, when she has to breach the walls from the rooftop, which is inside the the room right adjacent to the hookah.
I
But as
feel
always,
like Reckoning might come in with a more aggressive game style. So I expect to see maybe a Finca or a Lion ban. I feel like alongside a ban of these two operators and maybe a Jackal, it would cancel much of what Reckoning Esports are trying to build upon here. But I also do have to emphasize that with the Monty power play that they have brought into the picture, they will really need to remove something along the lines of a smoke, which can not only deny objective, but also deny positioning, which will completely counter the Monty to some extent.
that could be true, but I don't really see a ban on Lion and Finca, as they are not the best picks by a lot of teams like these. I mean, I could understand yesterday that Reckoning, the team Reckoning, was not taking the game that seriously. That's why I felt like they went for the attackers, especially Finca and Lion. They are not that on the top of the pick rate charts according to Ubisoft. Like, I don't see them getting picked a lot because how Finca's ability is a little broken, and how her ability also um, tampers with the recoil of a lot of players. Like when her ability is switched on, the recoil goes off, and the people and the players who are maining attackers whose guns have a lot of recoil, they just like kind of mess up their aims and stuff. And about Lion, yes, he can be a really good operator, I feel, when you're rushing, and when he is combined with Dokebi, they're an unstoppable force right here, right there. Like, I just don't understand why Lion isn't that much picked even after his nerf. But I would like to see a Lion play into this match. But considering how a lot of strats involve taking operators, like the mainline operators, like Thermite, Thatcher, then there's IQ and Hibana, all those operators, I don't really see a Lion and Finger coming into the play. But let's just see what they're up to. And I don't think Reckoning would undermine their opponents, especially they know that it's the Phoenix and not someone who is new to the scene. I mean, Phoenix has been playing this game for a long time, like the people in Phoenix at least.
Exactly, and it's all going to come down to being alive when we're down in the heat of the action. We've seen it in the match prior, and I have complete confidence that we're going to see it in this matchup as well. Where in the last 30 seconds, in the last 40 seconds, the decisions you're going to take are going to either make or break whatever strategy your team is going for. We saw a couple of slip flops from Team TBD, in all honesty, where they went for engagements which weren't all that necessary, but luckily they were able to bag both the maps in the bag and they were able to take it home 2-0. And not only you, but it's really important that your PC is alive and
Exactly.
running well during the heat of the action, due to which you need to pick up the most powerful graphic cards out there. And what a surprise, it's right at your doorsteps. If you are in the market for one, you could just head on over to RPTech India, which is the official distributor for Colorful in India, and pick up your fancy new RTX card. To be honest, I have a 2070, and it not only helps me run the game pretty well, it also helps me restream it and have the best gaming experience possible. And hey, while you're at it, if you have a great graphic card, that doesn't cut it just quite enough, because it can run it well, but can you see it well comes the next question, where you could potentially go in for a curved monitor to get every single angle under your belt. Well, the 240 hertz is what is the standards right now, so 240 hertz Samsung curved monitor could be your potential pickup in case you are in the market for any more accessories, but that will all have to wait, because now comes the most awaited part of the game, the pick ban, which should dictate how this map is going to be played. Again, we discussed how the big band's going to go, but it's all going to be based on the teams for now. The first, and it does seem like Reckoning are going to be playing a man down, 4 versus 5 from the get go. So they're starting off with a disadvantage, but don't let that fool you, because yesterday they made it look considerably easy, even though they were a man down, and they could replicate success. But we'll have to wait and watch. The first ban is out, and it's the Capitão. So a ban that I expected personally. And yeah, Phoenix, they banned the Monty. They knew what's coming their way, reckoning.
Of course, of course. Monty could be a really strong operator when you're pushing into the kitchen side, like when the defenders go with the kitchen. Monty is an unstoppable force. As one of the bomb sites are just near the entrance, and just you just have to rush into the kitchen door and just like plant. And we can see a Mira ban happening on the side of Phoenix as expected. And now we are looking at Reckoning, and I wonder what they're going to ban. It could be an Echo, or let's say a Pulse. Ah, nah. I
That's
was
the
right.
echo.
It was an Echo.
But I really like this ban of the Capitão. The Capitão is a really good operator when it comes to clearing corners and being clinical in the process of doing so, right? It helps you force fights, it helps your team get into a good situation, and it forces the opposition to take a fight if you have a clue as to where they're hiding. And the Jackal, he is in the pool where it could get a little messy, because as soon as the sides swap, I feel like that's going to be Reckoning's go-to move, to take the Jackal, to find perhaps a lurk, and to try to even the odds as soon as possible.
We can see that on the attacking side, we see a Buck and Ying into the play along with Nomad. I mean, it's gonna be a little difficult for Reckoning as they're already on one man down, and I see operators who are good for roaming. Let's say it's Legion and Vigil and Jaeger. I mean, I don't see Jaeger as a roamer anymore because of how his speed has been nerfed, or he got a little fat in the quarantine, as we can say. But here we see, let's see what they come up with. The 4-man strat right there. What do you think?
I feel like with this Valk and the Legion, they have a little bit of leverage over the map. Valk obviously would help getting a bit of aggressive information, and like I said, if they work well with the Legion traps, it potentially could be early pickings going their way. But it's on to Phoenix as well, right? To give those early picks. They have the Buck, who obviously does bring in verticality. You have a lot of utility having the Ying up as well. The IQ could go fast as expected and remove the majority of the Legion traps when the time is right. And the Nomad cancels so much of the early push potential that Reckoning are looking for. So both teams coming in with a good draft. And oh no! What this is Caster's Curse coming out right as I expected it to. Luckily, Phoenix, they did get the refrag in the nick of time. So they're still having their man advantage with them, but they've lost the puck, which means the verticality aspect of this lineup is completely down the drain. And considering the IQ is so dead low, she needs to be a little careful as to where she treads.
As we saw a little bit of running out from the Reckoning Esports, considering how they were low on the manpower right there. It was quite brave of them, but one of them did lose their lives, and now it's 3 of the defenders to defend the site.
They are they have a lot of control considering the time. Phoenix, right at doorstep, and Reckoning. Doesn't seem like they are gonna be as uncomfortable as assumed, because they're just sitting steady, rock solid. To be honest, it's gonna come down to information and Reckoning. They are denied a good bit of it. They are still trying to get these early kills going their way, with only one being done so far. But I feel like now's the time where Phoenix's power spike comes in. They still have the Ying up. They still have the Nomad up. This could be a good push in towards the side, with the Ying disposing of her flashes. The rotation's being committed, but not capitalized upon just yet. Their man advantage neutralized quickly by Reckoning, as now it's a minute left on the clock, and Phoenix need to find not only a frag, but also the objective and the plant. They're going to play this one as a 1-2 split with the Nomad watching from afar. They're going to rush the plant with yet another flash thrown in by the Ying, and the rotation getting cut off. It's down to 3 versus 2 with Phoenix with the upper hand. Oh, the deny from the low ground. Beautiful job coming in from Reckoning, as they not only get the deny on the plant, but they also get the kill. Rock, he's going to be able to fall back, not until Shot FX gets the drop on him from the low ground. He's trying to strike, but Ninja Freak is not finding any success whatsoever. Down in 35 seconds, and now Phoenix could perhaps rush the plant. Nobody offered to resist, and it's going to be a quick down from the Zafia. Mind you, the Nomad is expecting the rotation and is playing on the back of it as well. Ninja Freak, he needs to pull off an incredible 1 versus 2. Quick spam comes in to perhaps buy distraction and bait, but they know exactly where he's going to come from. There should be a peek coming from the ulterior angle, but that's simply not the case. Down to 30 seconds, and he's trying his best to rush the objective, but the angle already being watched, the engagement taken in a very messy way. Phoenix, they just one-up him as they do the tag team to perfection, and they take the first round in their belt.
I suppose the team Reckoning did not have much information about how the last 2 attackers, Nomad and the one who was alive, they were hiding. I don't think Vigil was aware of where they were exactly. That's why he was seen prying into the VIP, or maybe a little bit to that hookah. Maybe he could do what in the last rounds, the last seconds, I see he was trying to pull out a secondary, but he lost the fight. And we can see on the defense side, this time we can see a smoke and a Valkyrie into the play. Vigil, as always, for the roaming. Or maybe he is second picked to the Vamai. I already know that they did not expect that Ying play into the play. And I would say that Ying throwing her candelas right before she was planting was one of the ways you could play Ying. Ying was one of the most underrated operators so far until she got the buff. Don't you think, OG?
Yeah, I actually do, because not many opted in for the Ying when they could have a lot more to pick from. But considering her recent buff, I'd say the amount of utility she offers to the team has increased significantly. A good example would be the last round, where they needed to rush a plant, and the Ying did a good job not only trying to get the plant, which she was denied later on, but applying pressure to Reckoning, forcing them on the rotate, and then picking them off with her mates watching the back.
I saw one of the 200 IQ plays coming into the play when Vigil was right below the bomb site, and when the plant was going on, he was like, you know what, even if I don't have a nitro, I'm just gonna go shoot at that place, and so that he gets distracted, and it somehow worked.
Another man disconnected from Reckoning. This is getting
my.
very uncomfortable if you're Reckoning Esports right now. Phoenix, all they need to do is be a little passive, because they should expect an early peek coming their way. The flash was spot on, but the peek didn't come in though. Reckoning, 2-man disadvantage from the get-go. What would you do in this situation? Would you try and go for spawn peaks, perhaps trying to even the odds, or would you play on the back of crossfires and try to boil this down to the last minute?
First, I suppose there would be a rehost coming in, but I don't know for sure. But like you said, I would go with the latter choice. Just try to play along and do my best and let the attackers push in, because sometimes when you're three, maybe now it's only two of them, 5v2 into the round. It's Valkyrie and Jaeger waiting patiently for the attackers to come in and welcome them with bullets.
Yeah, good drone work coming in as well, but they do have the aggressive Valkyrie cam, so they don't need to be worried as much because information is on their table.
The
Phoenix
attacker's bomb
still
diffuser has
taking
been
this slow and
dropped.
steady with a minute 30 left on the clock. Jaeger is going to be good for the first, and mind you, there's no refrag setup as well, so Phoenix have let gone of that frag for free.
Attackers
Luckily,
recovered the
now they
diffuser.
do avenge their teammate's death, but at the cost of yet another. The Val sadly couldn't do much from the position she was stuck in, and Phoenix to get a second round. Really, nothing much Reckoning could have done there, regardless.
I can see that Reckoning Esports is asking for a
Requesting a rehost,
rehost.
and yeah, we
Yes.
should have one underway regardless. What do you feel? How do you think the ban phase did go though? I feel like that Monty ban, that was the eye-opener one. That is the one where they're like, okay, I feel like this is going to be Reckoning Esports' game plan throughout the tournament, and we're going to just remove that ASAP. Do you feel like that is what was going through Phoenix's mind, or did they have an ulterior motive to ban Monty?
I suppose that could be the case because, from what I know so far, Monty in this map is used when the defense goes with the kitchen bomb site. And I feel like they might. I feel like Phoenix had something in their mind, or maybe a specific strat when their turn was to go for the kitchen in their defense. So I suppose yes, they had a motive in their mind while banning Monty. And I would say that the ban on that Capita was also good because since they banned both Capita and Monty, it does not give any chance to the attackers to just rush in through the kitchen door. I would say the service door exactly. It's called the service entrance. Like rush in through the service entrance and smoke that area, make a Monty stand in front of you, let the attacker plant, and boom, you go away and you just like get one attacker on the reverse repel and shoot the defenders one by one if anyone tried to go near the diffuser. But yeah, they were able to ban those two, and none of we wouldn't have seen any of that happening. So I suppose Phoenix had something in the mind when they were coming to. I mean, when the kitchen bomb site was coming to them.
I honestly feel like Reckoning on their offense will come in with a Ying counter pick to help keep on the aggression and the pressure put on the defense. I feel like they might opt in for a combo of Blitz, Ash, Ying, and something perhaps a little more utility or something that offers a little bit of more ingenuity. Maybe something like a Buck to bring in a little verticality aspect to it, or even a Zofia.
I don't see a Blitz coming into the play since he is not that versatile. Like he could be a moving flashbang, but after all, at the end of the day, he is just left with a gun, and without any support from the attackers, he might not be able to like pick up on gunfights with the defenders who have a sub machine gun as compared to the pistol he has. So in the attacking team, I can see, considering how they have been known to rush so far, at least from the match we saw yesterday, they could, of course, go with a buck for the vertical place if the defenders go with the kitchen. I mean, when the defense rounds are happening in the downstairs, in the below, and like kitchen and everywhere else, it's obviously it's always a good choice to get a soft breacher like a Buck or a Zofia or an Ash or someone with a breach charge to go up on the VIP, place the breach charges, and get your skeleton keys to work and make a huge here and there, like holes here and there on the floor, and get the angles on the defenders. I mean, it would just choke the defenders if they're taking kitchen. But let's just see what happens. So far, they were taking hookah and taking on to the hookah. I feel like the attackers could push from VIP, but let's see. I mean, in the first few rounds, a lot of players got disconnected, and I saw a lot of spawn peeking, like spawn running, like running out happening from the defenders. But let's just see what happens after the rehost is done.
Now, it looks like the rehost might take a little bit of time, so we will be back with the game as soon as it's ready to go live. Until then, lay back, enjoy some nice music, and yeah, we should be live within no time. right, does seem like we are gonna be back and reckoning. I hope that now they're gonna be completely ready. Being 2 rounds down again, like you said, Sari, this is more of an offense favored map, so they are on the less favored side. How many rounds are you expecting Reckoning to bag though? Do you think two should be a minimum?
2 or 3. Let's see what happens, because Reckoning, of course, they would obviously come up with a good strat, even if it's on the defense. I mean, although coastline is an attack, like sometimes it is an attacker sided, but it can also be a defender sided, considering hookah and all. Like if you set up things right, it can be a very difficult task for the attackers to push in, especially when you have good roamers on board. And we can see on the defense side we have Valkyrie, Vamai, Jaeger, Smoke, and a Maestro into the play. And on the on the attacking side we have True.ex going with the IQ, Hypertushi with Buck, Backhawk.px is going with Zofia, and Short Effects with the Nomad, and Infernus with the Ying. As far as I remember, Infernus was the ex-teammate of AVM, and now he's playing for the Phoenix.
It's gonna be one hell of a story if these two play against each other in the finals, right? I guess
Obviously.
Phoenix Esports do have more of a chance than we make it look like. Because again, like said, they have as much skill and caliber, but Vortex out of nowhere just rushing spawn peaks the Buck to death. And mind you, it's the Buck that's gone down. So they've again lost the verticality aspect relatively early for the side of Phoenix Esports.
That is true, and we can see that the flashbang was held by the magnetic discs thrown by Vamai, and it was like right in front of the Zofia's eyes, just to show how powerful Vamai's gadgets can be. I mean, you can already
Oh,
see that Drew is
but
inside the. No, no, exactly,
this
not
could be.
exactly. He's inside the kitchen, and he got on that roamer who did not see that IQ coming.
Yeah, I think Vortex was trying to get some information based on the cameras, but he didn't realize that the push already came upon him. Phoenix. As soon as losing a crucial man, they do take the Valk out relatively early, and they can slowly start converging upon the bomb side now. Just due to that lurk presence being lost, Reckoning have lost a significant amount of map control, and that's something that they should be wary of as well, as they are trying to play from amidst the site, and they're trying to get aggressive towards hookah exit, which has been helping them significantly. The Ying tagged down to 1/4 her original HP, and now comes the patience game. Reckoning. Let's see if their defense is as patient as their offense. Because yesterday, even though it was fast, they were willing to slow things down when the situation required it. And now the situation requires Reckoning to take the Ying out as early as they can and hold out for the rest of the attackers as well.
So if you're already inside the aquarium trying to dig out that evil eye, and you can see shot effects getting on Saki dot reckoning. It's 4v3 1 minutes into the round, and Zofia gets that shield down and breaking that barbed wire. I think she's already inside that aquarium, and
Ooh,
Walmai goes down. He's down, but does that attacker know? I think they do. It's 4v2 right now, less than 50 seconds into the round. We have Jaeger and Smoke alive.
that is dicey, but it does seem like the Jaeger is able to retreat back to the stairway. The quick headshot, and now he has a little more room to breathe. Mind you, they still have the smoke up, and they're able to force the plant without any deny coming their way. But this rotation, it's completely caught them off guard. The smoke, so the Jaeger doing a beautiful job on the back lines, and now the smoke could potentially catch another one off guard. Mind you, the Ying, she's tagged dangerously low, and her back exposed. She ends up going down. Infernus didn't see that one coming. It's all left on the Mechhawk, and he's trying to rappel his way to victory, spamming his way through the smoke. But there is a reason why you don't outsmoke the smoke, because he's the one who started it first. Reckoning. They get that first round on the board, 1-2, as they can slowly start to post a comeback and a potential lead.
I see what the smoke did there. I mean, just smoking up in front of the Zofia, and she could not see that smoke running towards her, and that's where smoke struck back. That was hell of a patient round played by the defenders. That is Reckoning Esports. You were right. I mean, they had to be less aggressive and more patient with their plays. if they wanted to win this. Even after the diffusing went down, they were able to retake over the site and successfully kill all the attackers, and they were able to defuse the plant on time. And we can see on the attacking side, Phoenix going with the IQ Sledge, Sophia, Nomad, and Hibana. And on the defense side, we have Valkyrie, Vigil, Jaeger, and Maester into the play.
Attackers need to locate
I
and
feel like
defend as
Phoenix
many
are doing a
bombs as they
really
can.
good job towards the early and the middle section of the round, but when it comes to the late
Attackers have
setup, they're
located a bomb.
really floundering at that moment. They're not expecting Reckoning to go for these kind of gambly plays, right? Reckoning, the only reason they won the previous round was due to Reborn and the way he was rotating around the map. At the first, he was stuck towards the side. He made his way down towards the stairway, gets an easy pick off, runs all the way to garage, and catches off a man rappelling, which allows the mute to strike from the back when the time is right. And yeah, that is just the undoing of Phoenix
10
Esports'
seconds to insertion.
defense during the post plant, which really went down the haywire. But now, they will need to see as to how they can permanently cancel the lurk. And I guess the best way to do it is maybe a Nomad, with her placing her utility towards the later segment of the round as well. But the Jackal not being removed still is in for the grabs. Maybe something that Phoenix should consider.
I've considered that, but I don't see a Jackal into the play, and I can already see that the sledge, taking the sledge into the account over Buck was a good idea, considering how Buck has been ripped off of his grenades. Instead, they gave him a claymore, and we can see a kill in the early round as Ninja Freak gets on McHawk very early in the round, and Zofia goes down. They only have sledge for the vertical plays, as the defensive round has gone with the kitchen plays, as I said. And Sledge with his grenades still with him, and with his sledgehammer he can just literally bang on the floors and throw one grenade at a time to take those
Wow.
defenders out. And Vortex gets a double kill right there, and only two attackers alive. 1 minute 50 seconds, so early in the round, and it's up to them to get the diffuser and to do what's next.
I mean, I doubt Sledge swung his hammer even once.
Poor
Reckoning.
guy.
Quick pickings going their way, and Phoenix left in disarray. For now, it's only the IQ and Hibana left, but how much can they do? I guess they'll do their best.
So far, I think Hibana
What?
did
Hello?
not see that defender coming. Okay,
Yeah.
however,
Beautiful
she gets
headshot.
the kill. She gets the kill. Infernus gets that kill, and it's up to True and Infernus to push towards the side, but they don't have the diffuser yet. And she sees someone else lying there, and she did not see that attacker coming. And it's
What?
1v3 right now, already 1 minute, and somehow already gets that smoke. True.px double kill 1v2, and the diffuser is somewhere else. I don't know what's True going to do without the diffuser. However, they go with the droning first. Of course, droning is one of the the drones are your best friends in Siege, I would say. It's only less than 30 seconds into the round, and it's True who's alive. However, he doesn't see that hiding Maestro behind that shield, and couldn't have done anything without the diffuser anyway. But a good play perhaps, and a very good hold by the Team Reckoning.
Team Reckoning are getting aggressive at the perfect moment as well, right? The early aggression, the aggression towards the middle round. I'm not really sure how, but they let two kills just slip by them, not being able to pre-fire or even aim for that matter for the head, especially towards the hookah lounge and towards the corridor. But apart from that, Reckoning doing a great job so far, not allowing the likes of the Sledge and the Ying to set up well towards the later segment of the round. But they need to keep repeating this trend if they are to get a lead to start things off with, because this is Reckoning map pick, if I'm not mistaken, and they will need to come out on all cylinders if they are to take this all the way to the grand finals, because by no means are Phoenix an inferior force, and you need to respect them as such.
Yes, a lot of respect. I can see, as always, I thought that initially in their attacking rounds, Reckoning was quite aggressive in the last play, and I felt like they would be a little bit less aggressive in the defensive plays. However, that's not the case. We can see a lot of roamers on the round, and they're already taking a lot of kills, like bagging a lot of kills early in the round, especially on the
10 seconds to go.
Phoenix, who don't see those runouts coming.
5 seconds to insertion.
Again, a very aggressive stance taken by the
Locate a
Valve.
bomb
The
and defuse
pre-fire coming in. Oh, my bad, sorry.
This time IQ is
Nice one,
prepared for the run out. I think True knows what's up there. Maybe they do know, and they have to take out that defender default cam before they can actually take on that fight, because once again they have the advantage right there over the balcony. And 2 minutes 30 seconds into the round, and
Bomb located
they're
by
still
attacker.
trying to get onto. They're still outside the building. Actually, they still haven't entered so far.
A bomb has been located.
You can see the one who was rappelling was trying to get a very, very tight angle on that defender, as a lot of players, a lot of Siege players watching this stream can learn those cheeky angles from the players who have been playing this game for so long.
These cheeky angles that really get the best and the worst of Siege. Especially that one. You can even see a pixel on my screen, but he still ends up getting the kill. Luckily, the Claymore does get a refrag, but again, a minute 45 and Phoenix are nowhere close to getting any bomb site under their control. The Ying now would be able to come to life, but again, this cheeky angle being held, the spam comes through, but not the kill. The Ying gonna rush her way through the entry, and she's gonna comfortably sit down the sofa and try to punch in the digits. There should be a deny coming in at any moment, but that's simply not the case. She almost got the diffuser down. There we go. They're gonna be playing for the post man. It's 3 versus 4, and now they potentially could try and cut off rotations, but the Ying does end up going down as she was left in a one-gun spot. They are trying to play as vertically as possible as Shot gets 2 kills in towards the bomb site, but they're still able to deny the diffuser as Shot could not commit to a repeat. Reckoning, they managed to claw this round back in their favor, and the Ying had to go for this play there. They had to hope for the Hail Mary. If only Shot was aware that there was a third man hitting the diffuser at that time, she could have done something, but that's simply not the case.
Of course, as we move on to the round 6, with Reckoning bagging 3 wins for themselves and Phoenix with 2 wins. And this time we see on the defense side, we have Valkyrie, Vigil, Jaeger, Smoke, and Maestro taken by Saki. And on the attacking side, there's Buck into the play, since Sledge couldn't do a lot in the previous round. I see that there is a particular Ying play coming from this player in Furnace, that when you have to push into the site, you just throw all your candelas, make everyone blind, and there you go. You just find a spot to plant and you plant it. I mean, only if the attackers could
Defenders,
have
protect your
just
bombs from being
denied
defused by
the
attackers.
diffusers from coming towards them. At least if they could have just protected the diffuser, they might have had the round to themselves.
I feel
What do
like
you
they
think?
should have set a better crossfire alongside Ying. As soon as Ying went down, nobody should be in a position where they can just rush the diffuser. That's why a crossfire comes into play, but I'm not really sure why the second man from Phoenix did not engage whatsoever. Shot did a good job getting both those kills, but after that point, his angle is given away, and there's little reason to repeat. So there should have been a little more coordinated hold coming in from Phoenix, and Reckoning did a really good job at capitalizing upon their miscoordination and ripping them a new one. 2-3, Reckoning now with the lead as they might go for an. This is something that Rect has been doing Reborn has been doing quite a bit, going for these early picks and trying to get the early man advantage down in the book for Reckoning.
However, I feel like it was the case, I suppose, as Vortex gets on True.px and IQ goes down early in the game, and there's no more gadget denying for the Team Phoenix.
I don't know how Phoenix always give away this first pick on such a consistent basis. Reckoning gonna be playing the defense on a man advantage for now. Phoenix. Let's see if they're able to try and retaliate.
They would, of course, as only 4 people are alive, and Zofia already enters the aquarium and tries to destroy that wall and maybe the possible evil eyes. And 3v5, it goes down to 3v5. Mr. Reborn dot Reckoning gets shot dot FX.
Phoenix. They're really struggling towards the early segment of this round. So far, Reckoning. They get both the kills and they still have the smoke canisters up onto on a Croc. So it's gonna be very hard for Ying to work her magic this time around. She's downing most of her candelas, and the push might commence on the back of this, but there we go. Immediate smoke disposed, and the pre-fire just completely obliterates her. They're trying to return fire, but that's simply not going to work, as it doesn't seem like Reborn is going to budge whatsoever. It's all left on in the sledge, and it's more like a formality at this point. There's nothing that he can do that'll win his team this round. Boom.
It was flawless round for the Reckoning, and the aim down sight sledge could not see that smoke coming into his screen, I suppose. I mean, his crosshair was somewhere else. However, I feel that if Phoenix wasn't that aggressive with the push, considering how well Reckoning knows the site and they were well prepared for it, we already saw that they did not let Ying plant the diffuser or even let Zofia enter at all. And on this time on the defense side, we have a lesion on the team. It's shot.fx took lesion on the team, and on the attacking, no, actually he goes with Catcan maybe.
Now,
But
what do
on
you
the
think about
attempt,
this gridlock pick, though? This is a operator that we don't see used as regularly as I think anybody else in this draft.
he was introduced into Siege when along with Mozzie in Burnt Horizon, excuse me, Burnt Horizon.
Attackers
And
need to
Gridlock is one
locate
of
and
those
defuse as many
operators
bombs as they can.
who has the similar utility as Nomad in terms of denying the roamers. Like when she throws her track strings,
Attackers have
it just
discovered the
it just
location
makes
of the
harder
bomb.
for the roamers to enter that area where the tracks are open. So I suppose they're trying to,
Attackers have
since
located a
they
bomb.
have found that the Reckoning is pretty good with the pretty good with the roaming. I feel like they're going for the attacking, excuse me, the roamer denial. And we can see that Reckoning, one of the Reckoning
10 seconds
people
remaining.
have disconnected, and they're up to 4-man squad right now.
5 seconds to
Well,
go.
they've been consistently getting the man advantage, so perhaps this is where
Attackers are
Vortex
heading
finds
out
the
to defuse the
equalizer,
bomb.
but at the opening few seconds of the round.
Suppose I don't think they will do another rehost for this, but I don't think they have any choice but to go along with the 4-man squad right now. They have IQ, Zofia, Gridlock, and Hibana on their side. I guess they can pull it off if they're playing this in a very coordinated manner. What do you think?
Well, so far it does seem like Phoenix are playing in a more coordinated manner, allowing the IQ to work a magic, denying a decent. Reckoning are playing in a more coordinated manner where uh, much of Valk's cameras put out is being slowly but surely removed. So a denial of aggressive information for the side of Phoenix Esports as Reckoning, they will slowly but steadily march on foot towards the bomb site. And even when they are, it's harder, it's easier said than done because they don't have heroes who can put as much pressure on towards the bomb side. They're looking for perhaps early and individual picks. The smoke, it does deny them a little bit of control, and they're trying to spam their way back, but Phoenix Esports for now hold their ground.
Do you see that Zofia is already inside the bomb site, lying behind that build, like that pool table right there, and she is getting shot by that evil eye, and she destroyed that already. She has managed to secure that area, but she doesn't have the diffuser yet, and it becomes 5v3 along with Truda PX throwing a nitro on Ninja Freak, and Zofia goes down once again. The site is up to the defenders, and it goes down to 4v2 in no time, and we can see that there was a refract coming up and Hibana goes down, and it becomes 4v1 only just in 1 minute.
Yeah,
It was
it's
quite
all
a
left to
quick
Reborn
round
now.
actually.
Quite quick, but Reborn might still be able to pull this one back. He's chosen a new way to enter, and he's just trying to scout out for any loose link on the Phoenix offense, which simply is not found as of yet.
Of course, he might be trying to enter from the luggage window, or maybe not, or maybe he is trying to get the angles from the roof towards the courtyard. Let's just see what he has in the mind, as he has 30 less than 40 seconds into the round, and it's all up to him, and he already has the diffuser. So he has to figure out how to enter the bomb site with four defenders roaming wildly, at least inside the defending site. I suppose he might just drop through the hatch into the bus,
15 seconds remaining.
with the track stingers on the roof for some reason. I suppose that was an error,
10
but
seconds to go.
is watching the track
5 seconds
stings
left.
go out one
What's
by one.
happening? Okay,
It's
he's
like-
just having fun.
Watching the paint run dry, and
Operators, you have run out of time.
All right. Quite an underwhelming end to a rather interesting round, but that does put Phoenix Esports up on the board, and quite needfully so, because if they would have come anywhere close to losing this round, it would have been close to a GH, but that's not going to be the scenario for now. 4-3, just trailing one round behind, but reckoning. I feel like this. There we go. They have Croc who has reconnected, so they can play 5 men up, and this is what I was waiting for, Siri. The Lion and the Finker combo on the aggressive stance.
I never really imagined Reckoning to stick to that plan once again. And this time, no, I think you're wrong. They went with Nomad this time, but Lion is on board, I suppose. And the trap operator becomes the right there. I can
Attackers
see
need to
Lion into
locate
the
and
play,
defuse as many
since
bombs
they
as
are
they can.
planning for a possible
Attackers have
aggressive
located a
strat,
bomb.
because Lion, and I mean, he's only good when you're rushing and you just like uh go in for the Overwatch. I mean, as Lion says. So I expect some kind of aggressive push from Reckoning's side, but there we have Mute and Smoke and Jaeger, along with Vigil and Valkyrie, True.px taking Valkyrie.
Attackers have
And
discovered the
since they have
location of a
taken
bomb.
the
10
kitchen
seconds to
side, I
go.
suppose they will be going on a
5 seconds
adventurous
left.
ride right there with the roamers all around. So let's just see. I mean, with the Mute in
Attackers
play,
detected.
there will be
Defuse
a
the
lot
bomb.
of less droning, I suppose. What do you think?
I feel like that certainly would be the case. We saw the mute in, I think, the last match where it denied a lot of information on Cafe. But I feel like, especially on Clubhouse, it not only denies them information, but it denies them a lot more in way of trying to get control.
Of course, that could be the case, and Lion is already on the hookah deck, or we can say the hookah balcony, and trying to get an angle on the site. And droning goes on, and there's a Vigil Hypertushi on the roam.
Oh, this is why I love IQ. She could come to great use against multiple operators: Valkyrie, the Mute, the Maestro to some extent, the Legion. It's just such a nice overall team pick.
Of course, that could be, and we have like 1 minute 40 seconds into the round, and everybody's alive still somehow. And once again, they're trying to push through the upper floors before going down towards the kitchen and the lower floors. And I suppose Zofia knows very well who is right there and about the roamer, and maybe she's waiting for that roamer to show up. Maybe not, and she does. And so one of them does give away their place, and Hypotushi goes on Vortex.direct. He's trying to pin down that Valkyrie who has nowhere to go. However, she proves it wrong, and maybe she doesn't once again and gets refragged in no time. Like it's the operators going down one by one like a domino right there. What do you think?
Exactly. Reckoning. They're falling piece by piece, but they were only good for one refract, so they are still a man down. They still have the Nomad up alongside the Hibana, so it's the utility players who are still up. I still find this to be quite the daunting task for Reckoning, though.
Of course, that is since they don't have a lot of seconds in their hands, and three defenders on alive, and it's only Nomad like Reborn and Saki alive, and they have to do something, at least get the diffuser to them. Of course, Saki has the diffuser, and he has to find a way to get in, and it becomes 2v2. Reborn gets Infernus right there, and I suppose they can just burn that ADS off and enter through
15
that
seconds
kitchen
left.
window, or maybe through the service entrance. And Hibana maybe has a
10
plan to
seconds
enter.
left.
Already, Saki is, sorry, excuse me, Reborn is inside the place, and
5 seconds left.
he goes down and he becomes 1v2. However, Hibana doesn't care about that down teammate and goes on to plant the diffuser.
Attackers are activating the
I
diffuser.
guess she didn't have much time regardless, but the pick
Let's-
comes in, and now Mechhawk,
Defenders have located.
beautiful work from the back lines as he secures both the final frags and pushes Phoenix up to an equalizer
Defenders
4
disable the
4.
diffuser. Defenders
Oh
win.
boy, this is looking grim for Reckoning Esports.
Good try by the Reckoning Esports for holding on to the site, but pushing into the site, I mean. But let's just see what the strats they come up with this time. It's 4-4. You see there, the Phoenix is giving them a very tough time. And on the attacking side, we can see Zofia, Ash, Nomad, Hibana, and Sledge into the play. And on the defense side, we see a Castle taken into the point. Short FX going with Castle this time. And I suppose if they're going to Blue Bar and Sunrise, yes, that is a good thing, because Castle is a very useful operator when it comes to places like this. It has a lot of windows and doors where barricades, like a stronger barricade, like Castle's barricade, is
Attackers need
needed.
to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
And we can see that Saki.Rec is going with Jackal this time. We did not see a Jackal play
Attackers have
for a
located
very
a
long
bomb.
time. But I suppose they might be planning to play a little bit vertical, since once again the defense, the bomb site is down below there. And we see
Attackers have
two
discovered the
operators who
location
can
of a
help with the
bomb.
vertical play happening. As Jackal has his shotgun as his secondary, and Sledge with his sledgehammer. What do you think?
10 seconds.
I feel like for Reckoning Esports, they have the Jackal, which I've been waiting for a lot. I'm surprised that Phoenix Esports didn't choose the Jackal even one time around during their offense. So surprising to say the least. But with this kind of composition, they can take things off relatively slow, and they can boil things down to the last 30 seconds. Due to the Nomad, you can cancel. You can at least minimize the risk of a lurk alongside the Jackal, and the Ash alongside the Sledge will really help you both pincer and push the objective.
As we can see, a lot of the attackers, especially like most of them actually, are trying to push from service entrance, and I see they are kind of succeeding in that, trying to make this place a room clear and droning goes in. I suppose that is a very good choice to let one of the attackers drone and one of them push as the drone goes in and collects information for them. Already close to the attacking side. However, Vortex gets Infernus right there, and we lose Smoke very early to the round. And that was a very tight angled kill right there. A very good reflex coming from Ninja Freak.
Exactly, a beautiful shot to say the least. Down at 2 versus 5 as Phoenix are fighting against numbers and odds. Reckoning doing a pretty good job in maintaining both. The angle held yet again. Phoenix Esports, they're walking the pixel angles here, and you can't even blame them for it. It's these small mistakes that Reckoning are trying to punish, and they're doing a good job at it as well. Down on 4 versus 1,
The attackers bomb diffuser
Mechhawk
has been dropped.
up against all odds as he does end up biting the dust eventually. 5 to 4, Reckoning Esports, they concede away the equalizer but not the lead.
That is true. A beautiful play coming from Reckoning Esports. And I really like the way they were very consistent and patient with their push as an attacker. On the defense side, we have Valkyrie, Maestro, Jaeger, Kapkan this time. I see short FX going with a lot of variation in his choosing the operators and smoke. And this time in the attacking, Reckoning Esports goes with the Ying into the play. With Jackal, Zofia Ash into the equation, I feel that Ying would be the best since they're known to rush and be aggressive.
Exactly. Let's see how Infernus plays against his hero of choice.
Attackers need to
We've
locate and
seen
defuse
Young
bombs.
play both a slower game on Infernus, that is, and potentially a fast game, which could be orchestrated by Reckoning and Croc. Again, they have the Jackal as well, so their pick-off potential is massive for Reckoning here.
Yes, and this time the defenders, the Phoenix has gone with the hookah bomb side, and I suppose they will come up with a very good strats this time to stop the aggressive attackers from entering their site
10
in no
seconds
time.
left before insertion.
Since they have Ying and Jackal on board, and
5
Ying could,
seconds.
I suppose Ying could just go towards the hookah balcony and break that door, throw all of her candelas and maybe her smokes into the play, and just rush in and plant unless that place is full of the defenders. I mean, you would just die.
Reckoning perhaps expecting something relatively early, which is not going to be the case for now. Phoenix. They've set up in and around the bomb site. They have complete control of the stairways, so Reckoning, even if they do want to go to the site, they have to just walk through a bloodbath, which is going to be quite the spectacle for us to watch. They're buying bait for each other as well. They're taking fights on the stairway to allow the people inside to try and reposition, perhaps, or try to hold their position. Nonetheless, drone work gonna start coming in. Phoenix Esports. They shouldn't be caught in this aggressive stance. That's their only objective for now. Ninja Freak being taken down significantly low, and the peak comes in through the corridor. Luckily, they were able to get a frag and back off as well. Ninja Freak, I'm not really sure how, but he got that kill on a Mechhawk. What did I just see?
I suppose that was a vertical play coming from him as he was aiming his gun up in the floor, like up in the ceiling, I suppose. And the Ying candelas, I hear them going off somewhere, and the droning still goes on as Nomad is rappelling near the big window, and people are quite near, and the attackers are near the aquarium as well. I suppose the team has been split up a little bit here and there, but as long as it is coordinated, they will get the round to themselves.
I feel like this Cupcon pick might not be worth it. We saw it yesterday against Reckoning, and Reckoning really didn't buy much into the Cupcon trap. So, considering this is their map pick as well, I really doubt that this is gonna work from the side of Phoenix Esports. But hey, it's always worth giving a try, right? You might just hope that they might overlook the Cupcon traps today at least.
As we can see, for then we see smoke killing them, and everything in a blink of an eye. Everybody dies, and the defenders do a very good job by waiting for the right moment to strike, and Smoke throwing his toxic babes into the position. The defenders save the round to themselves.
Well, I just got jinxed, so yeah.
I
Val?
suppose Phoenix is not that happy with the Reckoning rushing in, but I was hoping to see a trap operator, one more trap operator, but they are going with Vamai and Jaeger this time. I mean, they were already done with what Ying was throwing at them, the candelas, blinding them, and now they're even more cautious than before. But I don't see any Ying plays from the attacking side. But let's just see what they have in their mind.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
5 to 5, we're at a point where it just balances at any point the balance could tip, and it would obviously be about momentum at this stage. Reckoning. They've been having a pretty good time at the offense so far, but I feel like Phoenix Esports, with this pick of the pulse, things could change a little bit. I'm not really sure if Reckoning are gonna be playing very slow base now, just considering they lost a round.
10 seconds
I
to
don't feel
go.
like they're the team that is gonna change up much.
It
5
it
seconds
might
left.
not. We might see some roaming into the play, especially
Attackers
how
are
they
moving
have
to
taken
defuse the
kitchen
bomb.
this time and Pulse. Pulse is a very important operator when it comes to defenders taking kitchen. People, I mean, everybody knows that people are going to be there, like the attackers, especially. Um, like kitchen is into the play, the attackers are going to be in the
Attackers have
VIP,
located a bomb.
making holes on the floor, and that's where the Pulse comes in. I mean, he has to take care of the attackers above him. And now we can see that IQ is trying to take on that small drone hole near the bathroom. Doesn't find anyone though.
Well, Reckoning, they've gained a decent bit of control inside courtesy of the Ash. And they are setting up around this aggression as well. They have every site towards the bomb sites surrounded. They might be able to get a quick drop, and that's exactly what Vortex was looking for. Nobody realized that he progressed so far alongside Ninja Freak to chime in on another kill. It's down to a 5 versus 2. Phoenix Esports disintegrated in the bomb site as it's all going to be left onto the Jaeger roaming while Infernus tries to hold on to the side with his deal alive. He's trying to get aggressive at the perfect moment, down to Sophia with ease, and he is trying to make this doable here as he buys distraction for Infernus to potentially get a kill, but Reckoning went out the round.
A very aggressive push from the Reckoning. Once again, we saw that Zofia entered without any fear, just enters and kills like whoever was standing there and takes Phoenix off guard at that moment. And this is on to the match point, and Phoenix with 5 wins and Reckoning in this with the 6 wins. And if Phoenix is not able to do well in this round, I suppose it is for the Reckoning who would win this match.
Well,
And on this defending side, we see Maestro, Smoke, Jaeger, Vigil, and Valkyrie. And on the attacking side, we see Sophia, Ash, Nomad, Jackal, and Sledge. And this time they once again went with Kitchen, and I suppose this time they will make their roaming game much stronger than before. What do you think, OG?
I feel like
Defenders,
that
protect your bombs
might
from
be a
being
hard
defused
ask
by attackers.
considering there is a Jackal up against you. So it needs to be as safe as possible because you can't afford to give the early pick, especially when Reckoning are going to be on map point. So
Bomb
if
located by attackers.
Phoenix have to pull this one back, I feel like you have to play it a little more grouped up, but not inside the objective. You could perhaps use the smoke to deny, and you could play on the back of the smoke, trying to cut off rotations and trying to penetrate the back lines. Apart from that, I don't feel like anything else would work against this Reckoning lineup.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yes, that could be true unless they have
5
specific
seconds
plans
left.
to stop the aggressive attacks. At least they could have gone with a
Attackers'
trap operator,
objective is to
considering how
defuse the
Zofia just
bomb.
entered, walked into the site without any issues. Like she just literally entered and massacred the entire place. But let's see what they have to do. We have Jaeger on the side who can stop the flashbangs coming in and Smoke to deny that plant, and the Spaghetti Man, the maestro on that evil eye. But let's just see. Already the attackers are near the service entrance and one goes down. Vortex goes down by MacHawk right there.
Yeah, trying to get a little overly aggressive like he did in the previous round, but this time Phoenix were far more prepared for this exact play. The Sledge trying to return fire, but not to any avail. I'm not really sure why Ash disposed of both her flashbangs, but he knew that there was a Jaeger trap rider on the corner. One of the smoke canisters used, so that's a little information going the way of Reckoning. An early smoke canister is not as bad. It denies the offensive side a little control, but at the same time, it reduces the amount of control you'll have towards the later segment of the round. So it's something that you do need to keep in mind before you do use it. Beautiful drone work coming in from Reckoning as they have information amidst the bomb site. Now, they're trying to spearhead it from the entrance towards kitchen, which I don't really find is the best option. As long as they're able to get the
Attackers recovered the
diffuser to a
diffuser.
safe spot, it potentially could work, but I don't feel like it's going to be the scenario they're looking for. Off the man disadvantage, they're trying to chip their way back at Phoenix, but Phoenix are not budging whatsoever. They're holding down rock solid, and the diffuser, I think, has dropped. They've cancelled the backstab. Reborn has an inkling as to what McHawk is up to. Down to a 3 versus 3, and Reckoning are doing decent for the time, but Phoenix are performing beautiful on the whole, not giving much of an opening for Reckoning to capitalize upon. Although Reborn comes in with a triple kill, and he has found the way for Reckoning to potentially win this round. Phoenix fighting back though, and it all boils down to this 1 versus 1, but Reckoning, they have won out their map pick in this best of 3, but it got damn close to comfort because this core line, I'm not really sure Reckoning expected such a tough fight to be put. Nail biting all throughout the journey, and we are still at 1/3 of its length as we have map 2 and a potential map 3 still up for grabs.
I can already see that Reborn was able to ace the previous round.
Beautiful work from him. What an absolute beast, exactly. Before we do go off for a small break, before the map 2 does commence, a huge shout out to our sponsors to make this tournament possible. Display partners Samsung, partners WD Black, Colorful, and Games The Shop. A huge shout out to NVIDIA as well to bring this tournament to life. We will have Border, which is Phoenix Gaming's map pick. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break.
The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a 0 becomes a 1, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
To become who we are. This is my moment. I got a most exciting time. It's all about humanity. About humanity.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GamerConnect Community Cup Rainbow Six Siege, brought to you by display partner Samsung, partners WD Black, Colorful, and Games the Shop. A huge shout out to NVIDIA as well to bring this event to life, and we are done with Game 1 of our second semifinals, which is between Reckoning Esports versus Phoenix. We did see a very close game in Coastline, which was Reckoning's map pick. Luckily, Reckoning did take the victory, and now we're headed off to Border. What do you feel about Border, Serenius? Do you think that Border is a map where Reckoning stand a chance?
Um, they might be able to, but since Phoenix was the one who picked this border, if I'm not wrong, let's just see what strats they come up with. Already, we see that Phoenix banned Thatcher, and it kind of makes sense for them since they are on the defense side on border, and that too, it's their map. Let's see what Reckoning goes with. King, King ban coming into the play right there.
Well, I
Instead
think
of
it's
banning,
understandable considering that Ying is a very versatile operator. She can be of great use towards the later segment of the round where you might need to force the plant and buy as much room as you can for the person planning the diffuser, or it could be used relatively early as well to try getting an early engagement and a pick off in a safe manner. So it does make sense. And again, the Thatcher ban, just to make sure that you have, I think, due to this Thatcher ban, we could see a resurgence of more picks towards mute.
there could be mute as well as I can see that Reckoning may go with a Maverick this time since Thatcher is not in the play and they have to. If defenders go with the cache side, the cache CCTV site, they will have to take a Maverick to themselves just to counter the bandit tricking at least. For now, we can see in the attacking team, Reckoning is going with Hibana first and Zofia and a Capita Buck and an Ash, which okay, Korok goes with Nomad and Vortex go with IQ. And on the defense side, we see a mute into the play. Of course, there's no Thatcher to throw his mute jammers down. We see a Valkyrie, a Maestro, Jaeger, and a Mozzie. Once again, we see the Mozzie mute duo coming into the play by Phoenix this time. And the attackers will be facing a lot of issues while droning, though, since Aussie will catch the drones and Mute will stop those drones.
Defenders,
What do you
protect your
think?
bombs from
Well,
being
I think the
defused by
IQ is going to
attackers.
play a very integral role, especially in this game where with the lack of a maestro, like you said, it might be, with the lack of a maverick, they do not have ability to even get a pinch into this reinforced wall. But if by any chance the IQ is able to take any of the routers out, only then will they be able to get a good bit of information towards the side. Else, it's going to be pretty hard for Reckoning to take fights with calculated risks. Phoenix, they should prioritize taking
10
this
seconds
towards the
left
later
before
segment of the round. Again, when you have Mute with low information on the offense,
5
it's
seconds
really
left.
hard to breach these sites. You'll need to rely more on heroes like Ying,
Attackers are
which
moving out to
obviously did
locate a
get
bomb
phased
and
out.
defuse it.
I'm really interested to see how Reckoning approach this because Phoenix have come in with a very good draft, and the pick ban phase alongside this draft makes a lot of sense.
Of course, that is the case. And the border, we can see IQ is into the play and Hibana as always. I don't see a Thermite into the play, however. But on the defense side, we have Valkyrie as always. She is a very crucial operator when it comes to border.
I feel like Phoenix are. So, this is one thing that I've noticed. Reckoning have no issue going for spawn peaks and mechanics as such, but I've not seen anything quite similar from Phoenix. Is it just. Oh. This is why I think we didn't see any of it. They were saving the best for the last. Vortex just one tapped to death. My goodness, what did I just witness?
As we don't have an IQ anymore early in the round. It's up to the Nomad who
No.
doesn't make it through and falls to
What's
that
happening to Reckoning? They're getting wrecked.
Reckoning wrecked and they lose one of their teammates. One of them, I think, they got disconnected, and it's up to the Capitao and although he has a lot of time in his hands, he has to do something. He has the diffuser and he is crouch walking for some reason. But let's say, okay, the message comes in and Ninja Freak requests a rehost for their team.
Yeah, I think all that Captain is doing right now is just trying to buy time for his teammate.
Of course, a
But
little bit here
apart
and
from
there.
that, Phoenix, what an explosive start. Nobody expected them to. In all honesty, I expected them to play a lot more passive, and they did initially. Right after the pick towards the IQ, everybody individually got aggressive, which picked apart any kind of aggression posted by Reckoning Esports. Even the people who were trying to provide as much cover, Phoenix weren't afraid to take these long range fights, and Reckoning completely caught off guard. Again, the man disconnect certainly would start getting to their head and nerves to some point, and Phoenix, I think they're setting us up well for this best of three semifinals.
As we can see that Capita might be making an artwork with his gun right there. I could feel that he was trying to do something, at least make a smiley or it's up to
15
us.
seconds
No, no,
left.
he's writing something. He wrote
GG.
G, GG, G, G, PC. Oh,
10
Yep.
oh,
seconds
that's
remaining.
Oh wow!
that's smart, I guess. Thank you so much, Mr. Reborn,
5
for
seconds remaining.
spelling out the name. That's
Well,
lovely.
at least time well spent.
Yep.
Phoenix.
Operators, you are out of
They're going to
time.
be taking the first round, and we should be having the rehost. I just hope that Reckoning are able to mentally reset. Sometimes these small intervals, right, between your playtime and how much your downtime is, it really gets onto your nerves as a player, as you have to keep all that adrenaline at bay if you were going for something specific, and just due to this rehost, that synergy breaks apart. It's really got to be feeling like a bummer. So again, one of the best teams, but I hope they mentally reset from this one. And yeah, the rehost should be up at any moment. What do you think about the Monty in this map? Because given how the defenders can play vertically as well, I feel like the Monty strat is something that Reckoning might not be able to run on border. Again, being shot from all directions is something that Monty can't bear. It's only the front where he has the shield. So maybe they need to try working around their fast strat, but in a different manner. What do you feel?
I suppose that could be possible, but I don't see a Monte into the play if unless the defenders have gone with the sides below, that is ventilation and or maybe customs. Uh, Monty, I don't feel, as far as I know, I don't really think he is that useful when it comes to armory. But as always, it all depends on the team strategy and everything, and what they have in plans. If Monty pushes into the armory doors and helps the attackers plant behind him. I mean, if there's a Capita also on board and he could just smoke up the place, maybe, or maybe there's a Ying who could just throw the candelas and blind the defenders right there. Monty could be seen into the play. However, I would say the border requires attackers with stronger guns.
Overall, I feel like regardless of the pacing, Phoenix Esports, as soon as it hits the 2 minute mark, right? 2.5 to 2 minutes, that's when I feel like their aggressive stance really pays off. Post that, I feel like Reckoning would be well set up to dismantle the aggression that they want to try and pose, especially when the Jackal is out, right? I feel like if they give the Jackal a little more leverage, it'll be a huge problem for Phoenix Esports, where they might be picked apart single file. And perhaps that's what Reckoning might build towards. The Captain was not banned this time around. The the Jackal is not banned this time around. They have this ability to catch at least one man off guard, which might lead for an early pick, which might lead to more mistakes. I feel like this is going to be Reckoning Esports' game plan for the semifinals.
Suppose so, since we saw that all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, it suddenly reduced to 1v5, even if they lost one of their men, like Reckoning. I wonder what happened there. Like all of a sudden, everybody was like caught in the crossfire and stuff. But let's just see what happens after the rehost. Maybe these guys got a little bit time to themselves to rethink their strats and whatnot, as they saw how much like how like the way Reckoning is playing against
Exactly.
like against Phoenix. What do you think about this?
I feel like this is the test. Yesterday we saw Reckoning Esports who were not contested as much when they were going aggressive. They were never punished. And especially on a map like Border, right, where there are so many nooks and crannies, there are so many ways that the defenders and the attackers can get at you. Uh, it's going to be a very hard test and a true testament to see whether Reckoning Esports will be able to get their spot, a well deserved spot at the grand finals. And again, before we do go any further, a huge shout out to our sponsors to make this tournament possible. Display partner Samsung, partners are WD Black, Colorful, and Games the Shop, alongside NVIDIA to bring this tournament to life. Again, a quick story. Right before the quarantine did end up going down, I was able to bag myself a nice 2070. Again, I've never really had that leverage to get a good graphics card, considering I used to take gaming as something more as a hobby before I started taking it professionally. But being able to stream, being able to run my game at the most comfortable settings, having a good amount of FPS is something really important and will really improve your odds and your chances for you to get a competitive edge over your foes. The rest, my friend's, going to be on you, your mechanical memory, and your dedication to the game. So if you are going to be in the market for one soon, you should consider picking up anything from the line of the colorful RTX graphic cards, and preferably through the RP Tech India, which is India's official distributor for Colorful. And talking about Colorful, I feel like maybe Siege is one of the most, how do I say, realistically beautiful looking FPS games. Other than Siege, the other FPS games, at least competitively per se, could be Overwatch, CS:GO, and I'd say let Valorant release for it to get a full name on this list. But yeah, apart from these two games, Siege is like far more realistic. CS features realism in terms of at least the way the gunfights work, but the movement feels far more gimmicky and far more old school, I'd say, to games like Doom. Siege has more of a, I'd say, sluggy movement where you feel the weight of your operator. You feel like your weapon and your armor makes a huge difference, and
Of
it
course.
does. But the amount of, like, I don't know how you can put it in words, but the ability to get killed from anywhere with only one bullet, while it might be very good when it comes to you killing other people, it feels so much more worse when you get on the receiving end of it, dying to one nook and cranny where one guy has been camping for the past 2 minutes. Hence, we've seen a more uh, we've seen more priority been given to operators like Valkyrie, operators, especially operators like Twitch, who have that extra drone, who have the ability to get extra information, while at the same time supporting your team to get into the site and potentially catch a man off guard, or even if you know the position, a good wall bang, which we've been seeing quite a bit of, especially in this game.
Of course, talking about this game, I remember when the game was in its starting stages, well, let's say it wasn't in the year one. I think the players encountered this glitch in the game. Like it was Blitz running at you, but his legs were facing behind. I mean, the
What?
opposite way. Yeah, it looked like as if he was a raptor, like a dinosaur. And trust me on that, Ubisoft saw that. Of course, they saw that and fixed it. However, they have been very much active in the fan community, especially they are taking the memes quite nicely, considering how they actually gave the Chanka a skin which resembles a king or a kind of a god and called it the Lord Tachanka and everything. They know what their fans talking about.
Yeah, they're
and
embracing it.
and towards the end, I mean, there was a thing going on in the game, like in the TS, when if players are able to find, like, come across any sort of bugs or anything, and if they do get a like a very mentionable bug in the game in the TS server, like the test servers, they would reward that player with a charm, which dates, which talks about, I mean, it is a charm about the blitz with uh, the legs on the back, like, the raptor legs, like
Oh
we call
boy.
it. Yeah, the charm was available to those who were able to find bugs in the game. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool of Ubisoft to embrace the meme sometimes. And even even we can see that in Maestro, like, a lot of people in the beginning hated how Ash had a very small hitbox, like her head. It was very small. Like, if you actually landed a headshot on her, she didn't really seem to take it, and somehow people were like, how was that not a headshot on Ash? And thus the meme was born that Ash has a very small head. And now, surprisingly, if you take Maestro, let's say in T Hunt or the elimination round, like the T Hunt we used to call it back in the days, if you take Maestro in those rounds, and when he spawns, he says, "What about Ash? Ash has a really small head." So, of course, once again, Ubisoft is aware of the memes, and they're trying to implement it into the game, like, which is very nice of them. And it also reminds me of the times when I received this legendary alpha pack, and thinking it to be some kind of like, when I was trying to open it, I thought I might get a gun skin or something else. But you know what I got? I got a charm, of course, a charm. And it was a charm of the famous yellow doggy, the doggy who says wow. And like, a lot of memes circulating around that dog. And yeah, there is a charm exists
Wow.
about it.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's
it's about it's Ubisoft. Their meme game is good, at least in the game.
I actually bought Siege just because when Siege, I think, was during beta or just when it released, one of my friends, he's like, bro, ye game dekh bro, bahut acha game hai. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. Let's see how it is. Initially, I started playing Siege. I think I used to play a lot of Glass just due to the amount of fun I had sniping. And it was a decent game, as well as Fuse. Those two were my favorite heroes. But yeah, I had to, let it go because I wanted to take a few more games as well where I wanted to give it a try. And hey, it turns out that Siege developed into a really, really good and fun FPS tactical title, which I really didn't see in the years coming behind me. But that just shows, right? The future has so much to behold that you won't know what the hell's happening. Just
Of course.
potentially like this game, we could either have a swift 2-0 from Reckoning, or this could be a map 3 decided Forest. So far, it seems like Reckoning are going to start in the back foot, being down a round, but certainly not down a man, as it does seem like the rehost has stabilized their roster. But let's hope that this five-man actually play together for an entire game.
Only time will tell us
Attackers need
that.
to locate and
And we
defuse
are
as
on
many
to the
bombs as they can.
preparation phase. And we have on the defense side, Phoenix
Attackers
goes
have
with
located a bomb.
Mute, Valkyrie, short effects on the Jaeger, and somehow he gets his HP down by some points. I smelled casual kill, like a friendly fire right there. But anyway, Infernus on the Mozzie and McHawk on the Maestro. And they went with the ventilation room this time. And on the attacking side, we have Ash, IQ, Sledge, Nomad, and
10
Hibana
seconds left.
into the play.
Considering how
5
Reckoning
seconds
played
to
the
go.
defense in Clubhouse, I really can't wait for the side swap because I feel like
Capture
Reckoning's
the objective and
defensive side
defuse the
is far
bomb.
more powerful
The
than their
attacker's bomb
attacking
diffuser
side.
has been dropped.
With
That
the
could be
amount of
true,
early
yes.
kill
Attackers
potential they have
recovered
as
the bomb
well, it'll be a
diffuser.
delight to watch, especially on a map like Border, where there are so many spots that you can just have a quick run out. There are so many wall banks that we need to look out for. It's just a very destructive map per se.
And I can see those two attackers crawling into the side,
Attackers have
and
located
Ninja
a
Freak
bomb.
gets shot by surprise. So early into the round, Jaeger goes down, and we have only four defenders left into the game, and five attackers alive. And we can see that not a lot of attackers. I think they're going for the armory push this time. And let's just say they already blew up the passport wall and already in the customs. I sense that the attackers will be pushing directly into the site, and it goes to 4v3 just in 2 minutes. Reborn gets on True.px, and we lose a sledge. So a little difficult for the vertical plays to roll in, and we see that Ash also goes down. It's 3-on-3 right now, 1 minute 40 seconds into the round. What do you think will happen next, Uchi?
Well, Phoenix are close to the response, and it's all going to come down to these few engagements that are going to be taken across the board. Reckoning, so far so good, but Phoenix have not been shy with the response. It's down to 1 versus 2, with Phoenix being on the bottom end of it. It's all going to be on this Valk, and the plant should come in at any moment. She's putting herself in a decent position, though, and could have gotten the quick drop. The plant's going to go down. It seems like they're going to be a little spread apart, but it doesn't seem like the Valk is in a great position, though. She's going to come in through the security clearance, and mind you, it's going to be pretty hard because they're going to play the plant from the outside. So she needs to go out and she needs to force these fights. She's going to come in through the stairway, and mind you, this angle already is being held. It's going to be pretty hard 1 versus 2 for her to pull off, considering the ulterior angle has both the members from Reckoning at bay. The disarm is going to be as scary as humanly possible. She's going to go out and pick the fight, and she actually wins it out. Down a half HP though, and now it's all going to be on the pixel angle, but it's held to perfection by Rats. 1-1, Reckoning. They fight back with the response.
That was a good angle held by Hibana right there. After you diffuse, I don't really see a lot of these angles and holds happening in ranked. So this is something the new players from our watch party or the audience can already learn, that once you actually the plan goes down in the ventilation in near the ventilation in that site, you just go up on the bus and wait for any defenders to defuse. And we can see on the defensive side we have Mute this time, and Valkyrie, Jaeger, Maestro, and possibly a Castle. And on the attacking side, Ninja Freak is going with Ash and Vortex on Sledge, Korok on IQ, and Mr. Reborn on Nomad, and Rats on that Hibana.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Once again, the defenders have gone with the ventilation side since they lost it last round. And this time I see a Castle play coming into the round, and I mean, Castle is quite needed when you're taking the ventilation in the border. Like, the Castle is one of those operators you should be choosing.
Well,
10 seconds
for
remaining.
now, I feel like this Mute pick is really paying off. Like in the previous round, Reckoning didn't have a lot of information. It all went down to those trades, which did come in at the nick of time, but Phoenix were at the bottom end of the trade at the end of the day, hence the 1 versus 2.
2 minutes into the round, attackers are rushing in, and they might have spotted a defender shooting from that window, ventilation window. However, it's still, they have a lot of time, and I feel like Sledge might be going for that CCTV push and possibly playing a vertical right there. And there we see Mute into the play in the armory, trying to defend our side and possibly stopping the attackers from entering that place.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I feel like a spawn peek is going to come in at any moment from Phoenix. They're setting up for it, being very close to the windows in an uncomfortable fashion as well. Reckoning. They do hold on though. Nobody yet to trade any blows. So many of this aggressive Valk camp placements is being removed by the IQ. So a really good job done by her, and the Nomad to cancel the majority of the rotation avenues and the backstab that can potentially come their way.
You can see IQ was trying to get onto that new jammer, which she did, and Hibana is on to getting a clear sight of that armory. And I already sense that Rats is half on his health, and The attackers are very much busy in in making this place a roam clear, especially the office. Let's see if they can actually find someone, but Nomad goes down from that rappel and it goes down to 4v4 and a 2v4 in just a blink of an eye. What a refrag coming from the Phoenix right there.
Exactly. From the ashes, as they're able to regain control, but Reckoning still having an opportunity to fight back. A fleeting one in that as well, as it's only left onto the IQ. Trying to rush the objective, but yeah, getting barraged by bullets. Phoenix. They managed to regain control of this round. 3 rounds in the bag, 3 rounds up and 2 rounds in the bag. Phoenix, a decent start at border, but they will need to. Wait, sorry, I think. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the deal. Due to the Thatcher being banned, they'll need to find some way to circumvent the mute, because that's being a real heartache for Reckoning. They have to play with very, very little information. How do you think they would need to approach this though? Because I feel like that's being their major problem right now.
And I can see that this time they went for Twitch, and Twitch is one of those operators who can get around the mute jammers. And we see a Monte into the play by Ninja Freak. So far, we know that we saw Ninja Freak playing Monty in Clubhouse, and he was able to pull it off. So let's see what
Attackers need
things
to
they
locate
have in
and
their
defuse
mind
the
this
bomb.
time. And we see a Capital and a Thermite into the play instead of a Hibana. And on the defense side, we see a Mozzie finally, and the Spaghetti Man, the so-called Maestro, into the play.
Well, the all-awaited Monty. At least for me, I feel like Reckoning Esports. This might be desperation kicking in, because I don't feel like the Monty pick might work against Phoenix. At least in
5 seconds
yesterday's
left
game, they made
before
it look
insertion.
significantly easy, but I don't feel like Phoenix are gonna fall prey to these
Attackers
kind
must
of
locate and
tactics.
defuse the bomb. Defender has
As we can
left the
see early in the
designated safe
round,
area.
Valkyrie ran
Defender
out to
has been
throw her
discovered.
black eye into the environment of the border. And
But she did get detected, so I'm assuming that the IQ should
not really.
peaceful.
Yeah, she is safe. She did not get detected since it was just 2 seconds, but the attackers are not really aware of where she is right now when she went back in like on the right time. So I suppose the attackers are trying to push from the office and maybe take Monty with them as soon as they break that office wall. And Thermite placing the claymore to prevent any possible runouts. What do you think? They might be able to pull this off with the Monty going in after the breach is gone?
Again, it's a possibility. I just hope that Mute has done his fair share, because that's the only link that potentially could save Phoenix from a fast play, that is.
As we can see, the Twitch's drones are already inside trying to get rid of those black eyes. But I see the Thermite's breach did not go off, possibly due to the mute jammer, but it's went off, like the mute jammers are off and the wall is broken. And I suppose
A bomb has
Mozzie
been located.
saw the
Attackers have dropped the bomb
Monty
diffuser.
and gave him a blow to his face. He goes down and Monty once again gets a refrag on the Twitch, and he
Attackers have
tries
recovered
to
their diffuser.
take over the site once again, but it's 3v4
Attackers
right
dropped
now,
the
and
diffuser.
shot gets rast dot wreck. It's 2v4 in no time. It's only 1 minute 20 seconds into the round. You were right, this round is a little too fast for both of us. What do you think about this? What will happen?
Reckoning really need to slow down their approach, because it's being telegraphed right now. Phoenix knows exactly how Reckoning want to play and how they should counter this. Again, the Monty being picked off was significant, because he was expecting somebody to back him up pretty soon, but nobody expected that melee and insta shot combo to actually work. Neither did he. They know where one player is, and they're trying to isolate him,
Attackers
but
have
the only
located a
problem is
bomb.
they're in no position to perform a pincer maneuver. The Kavanagh fire, it's meant for this, but a
Attackers recovered the
beautiful
diffuser.
nade takes him down, and potentially down the hatch as well, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Croc, he does know where 2 players are hidden, so it's still a possibility. Taking down a half HP as he comes from the ulterior angle. Not good for the headshot though, as he does end up going down, and Phoenix with the third round on the board.
An absolute beautiful play by Phoenix right here as they were able to hold down the site so well and with a lot of patience without running out or trying to overpeak the defenders. However, I would like to point this out. There was this one attacker I couldn't really point it out who it was, but they managed to get a very tight angle on that Jaeger. I would say a very quick peek at the Jaeger, which was appreciable. I mean, I don't really see a lot of new players trying to do the quick peeking where it actually helps you get better at this game. Quick peek is your best friend. Another best friend after droning. Yeah.
Well, so far the mute reigns supreme. I'd say the mute is what's completely changed the way Reckoning needs to
Defenders,
reapproach this
protect your
now.
bombs from being defused by attackers.
That is, of course, could be true since I remember in the beginning of the game, like when it was just year two, when I was starting to play this game, I used to main mute a lot. And since mute had a kind of a low pick rate back then, as far as I remember, because of his, he did not have the SMG back then. He just had a pistol and his MP5K. He was still somewhat of a good operator. I still believe that his mute jammers would provide to
10
be
seconds left
an
before
absolute
insertion.
nightmare for the attackers who rely on the droning. I mean, at least I
5
can
seconds
see
to
that
go.
right now, and I'm so happy that I believed in mute after so long,
Attackers must
and
locate
he
and
is
defuse the
providing to
bomb.
be an
Defender
absolute
is approaching
nightmare
the kill
for
zone.
reckoning right
Defender
here.
exposed.
Activating shock.
Do you think this buck pickup is gonna change much though?
The bug pickup, that could happen if they're playing vertical and if the bomb site is right down below there. I suppose it is. Yes, of course. So yeah, and one thing about bug, yes, he can go for
A
this
bomb has been
approach. He
located.
can actually help break that wall above the reinforced place, and the attackers can just throw their grenades and everything else into the room. And however, we see Mr. Reborn or Reckoning takes out Hyper Tushi early into the round, and the wall goes off. That wall, which is near the bomb site. I suppose he's placing another one, and once again, we can see rats trying to clear out the CCTV.
The man down. They try to go for desperate plays, but yeah, not really landing that kill. Although he did have that drop shot, was a little short on his trade. Reckoning Esports, beautiful job at applying pressure evenly all across the field as Phoenix. They choke piece by piece. Ooh, a bad fight taken as Vortex is on a complete tear right now, leaving it
Attackers have
all on a
located a bomb.
Mech tries to make his way through the stairway, but has a lot of work ahead of him. A minute 20 left on the clock, and he's
Attackers
trying
are
to go for as
activating the
many
bomb
information
diffuser.
plays as humanly possible. Spots a man, the master can, buying distraction for his eventual peak to come, and he knows right two players in position. Tries to get the spam off to his rat's relatively long range engagement, but he does end up bringing it down to a 1 versus 2. Approaching the bomb site, mind you, the evil cams does act as cameras as well, so it's possible for his teammates to relay this information. As he's making his way through the exit hallway, it's going to be all the more harder. Of course, there is a man expecting the play to be in from the
Defenders left the
outside.
area of
Boom!
operation.
He tries to go for the pre-fire, but Reckoning, they seal his fate and the round as well. 3-2. So far, Reckoning are coming in with a response.
I suppose that fire from, like that gunfire from Maestro gave his position away, as I feel like he could have taken on that nomad who was waiting for his arrival, but since he decided to break something, of course, that was the air jab thrown by nomad. I suppose he had no other choice but to break that. But yet again, it was a very good possible clutch coming from McHawk. However, it couldn't happen, and the win was towards the attackers. And this time we see Buck twitch Thermite into the play. Once again, Nomad and Ash, rats on that Ash. And on the defense side, we see a Mute and a Valkyrie, Jaeger, Maestro, and Castle into the play this time.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
What do you think they did wrong the last round, though? It just seemed to fall apart.
I
Attackers
feel
have
like
located a bomb.
the attack, of course, the attackers were pretty confident in the push. They knew where to go and what to do at that time. But the defenders, however, I felt like they faltered a little when it came to gunfights. Of course, like Mozzie couldn't take it on, and a lot of things happened. I would actually think that
10 seconds left
I mean,
before
it would be
insertion.
safe to say that it was the fault of the gunfights, and of course, they
5
got a
seconds
little
to
too carried
insertion.
away by the amount of times they won Phoenix.
Attackers are heading out
And
to
I
defuse a
suppose
bomb.
they are being much more careful right now with the ventilation bomb sight in their hands. And buck into the play, and we will expect a vertical gameplay to see.
Starting shock drone.
Phoenix. The last round on the defense duty. How many rounds do you think is a minimum when it comes to defense on border?
Uh, I suppose defense on the border, of course, that is, of course, once again, it's a defense sided plays, but we can see that the attackers are already onto the armory. And I would like to point out one thing about that rappel shooting
Attackers
that
have
came
located a
from
bomb.
the ash. Is that when you actually breach into the round, I mean breach into the wall, especially into the armory place, it's very well it's advised to be on the rappel and take an angle from there so that you don't expose entirety of yourself. And we can see that it becomes 4v4 in no time, and it becomes 3v4 in just a few seconds. 2v4 with Hypertushi bagging double kills right there. It's only 1 minute 30 seconds into the round. Ninja Freak and Mr. Reborn alive on the teams of Reckoning. And we see on the defense only Jaeger being the one who's dead. And they have to do something, as I don't think none of them have the diffusers with them. And Buck on that vertical play, he knows that there is someone in the office, could be, and he is on his guard. And Reborn onto that half wall, prying into the half wall. He knows there is someone he couldn't land his shots onto, but that's all right. Only less than 1 minute into the round, they have to go down onto the bomb site, as they don't really have a choice right there. Or they just have to look for the rumors. I don't think they should be looking for the rumors right here, since they don't have a lot of time. Or maybe they just could go down the metal and push through the ventilation. And yes,
Oh,
we see Ninja Freak getting that kill on Hypertushi right there. Only less than 30 seconds into the round, Ninja Freak goes towards main lobby onto the customs, near the customs. He might be pushing from the A side. He breaks the wall, he gets into the bomb site,
holy!
gets the kill on them. Ninja Freak gets a double kill. 2v2, only only 15
15
seconds
seconds
onto the
left.
round. Throws the flashbang. He knows what's going on. He's
10
already
seconds
into
to
the
go.
Wow!
round. 2v1 in no time. It's 1v1. The plan
5
should have
seconds to
gone
go.
down. However, this is just a 1v1 going on right there. Nomad on the diffuser, and maybe, just maybe, she can't do it. Oh,
Ah, that was
just
a
couldn't do
valiant
it.
effort coming in from Reckoning. They pulled this back from a 2 versus 4 to a 1 versus 1. But she called
Exactly.
the bluff initially. After that point, she was forced to go in the plant, and they knew it as well. Phoenix just too determined on the hold, and now comes the swap. Reckoning. They're going to be at a 2 round deficit, while they're going to be the ones at the defense this time around. Mute has been one of the most integral pieces in this map, at least when it came to the defense. And it seems like Reckoning want to carry forward that trend. To support that, we have the Wyoming, the Bandit, the Smoke, and the Jaeger. What do you think of this draft? Do you think that this is a draft that will hold the fort?
Of course, since Bandit is in the play along with Vamai and Jaeger, and along with Smoke, actually, Bandit is a very good, uh, like a very good counter to Thermite and Hibana, especially when they're
Attackers need
going
to
to
locate
breach
and
that
defuse as many bombs as they
armory
can.
wall. I mean, I have seen a lot of players doing the classic Bandit tricking onto that wall. Of course, Ninja Freak is onto that wall, reinforcing it. Of course, the wall belongs to him for him to Bandit Cricket, and we see the duo of Jaeger and Vamai enter the play on border. And on the attacking side, we don't really see a Ying, but there's Zofia with a concussion, and we could be seeing a flashbang from Thermite, but that's all right. Let's just see. I mean, at least for the defenders, sorry, at least for the attackers, they don't really stand a chance against the duo, the great duo of Jaeger and Vamai when it comes to throwing
Attackers must
flashbangs.
locate and defuse the
And
bomb.
we have a smoke, which once again he proves to be a very good last minute plan denier, just like an echo. What do you think about this smoke in being into the play in this particular bomb site?
I just feel like this mute and this bandit combo is a very overpowered one in that, because it's very hard for any hard breacher to find much success, especially when your mute and your bandit are on point, which I'm expecting. So let's see what route this goes. Phoenix Esports. There's a reason they are 2 rounds up, is because how superior the strat book has been looking like. For Reckoning, this is their turn to start their salvage mission, so you better hope that they're gonna be on it. And let's see how Phoenix's early disadvantage, where their sledge got tacked down at 25 HP. Let's see how he recovers, because if the sledge gets into more trouble, they lose so much of that verticality aspect, like we keep mentioning, and they don't even have passive people who could bring verticality into the mix, like maybe an Ash or maybe I don't know, even a Fuse to some extent, I'd say.
Fuse could work, but since the vertical play, I mean, the sights down below, especially the ventilation and the customs, and you can see that
Located by
Rats is
attackers.
able
Wow.
to land that early kill on the true, and he gets quickly refragged by McHawk.ex. Rats
Still, that
goes
long
down.
range spam was beautiful from Rats.
Absolutely.
Still waiting for the information game. A minute 20 left on the clock, and Reckoning, they're being very slow about their approach. They're trying to get through this wall, but again, bandit tricks, as usual, just keeps them at bay. They have flashes, mind you, so they could try to storm the front, but not really the most advised of maneuvers, especially. Oh no, this is nasty. Reckoning being held at bay as they're down a man again. They're trying to come back with the fireworks, but it's simply of no avail. Down at 2 versus 4, they're finally able to break the fort, but for how long will they be able to put up the charade is the question. It's down at 2 versus 3. Finally, Reckoning trying to work the numbers, but it's starting to work relatively well. Reckoning,
Um,
I guess we might have a minor technical error, but we will be back within a few seconds. So far, Reckoning's offense hasn't been tested as much, but this mute pick is sort of becoming one of my favorite things to watch, especially with the bandit tricks. That is very cheeky what he did towards the armory wall there.
Especially, I would like to point out the fact that when the one who threw the grenade onto that armory door was blinded by one of his teammates, and he was like, "Oh my god, I can't see anything!" But wait, I heard a blast, and yes, his grenade actually got someone. So thinking about it, it's kind of a little funny right there. But once again, we are facing a little bit of technical difficulties, but we will be back in a short time. But yeah, once again. Phoenix was playing pretty well on their part when it came to the defense. But
Exactly. The fact that they ended the half with such a lead was, at least, was surprising to me in a good way. But there's still a lot left unsaid, especially Reckoning Esports' offense, right? Sorry, Reckoning Esports' defense, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, yeah, defense. They were defense.
Their Monty really didn't work out. They tried to go for a variety of picks on their offense. Nothing much panned out in their favor. They were able to bag 2 rounds. But I feel when they are in control, when they have the mute playing on their end, it's going to be much harder for Phoenix to pull off these plays. I feel like Phoenix were very comfortable in the defense, but the offense is where they'll get tested because they can't control as much of the game, right? You can't control much of the engagements when you are on the attacking side. You can't control much of the channeling through where you're supposed to be headed when you're on the attacking side. So there are a lot of inherent advantages to be on the defense, but there are a lot of disadvantages as well. And let's hope that Phoenix have come up with something in the bag to try and just completely shut down Reckoning and Border. Because if they want to go all the way to map 3, they need to be well versed, at least in their own map pick.
That is true, of course. And we saw
And
that, yeah.
yeah, we're seeing a repetitive trend where I feel like this could go the full way, but we've been having 2-0s the entire tournament, and this potentially could be one of them as well. Only time's gonna tell. So why don't we have a break and let this situation resolve itself? We'll be back in within, I guess, 5 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and it does seem like surprisingly, Reckoning won the previous round, a 2 versus 4. So, a pretty good pickup for Reckoning, considering that was a very crucial round to piece together their comeback in map 2, as now it's 3-4. And how do you think this is going to impact the grander scheme of things, Sari? Because this potentially could put the rest of the offense on tilt. At least if I was on the offense, I would be like, guys, 4 versus 2, come on.
I could agree on that,
Attackers need
especially
to locate and defuse
when
bombs.
all the teams, when it comes to defending, they're all buff,
Attackers
you
have
know.
located a bomb.
Phoenix was buff when it was their turn to defend, and now it's up to Reckoning. And on the Phoenix's side, we see a bug in play, a Nomad and Thermite, IQ, and a Zofia. And on the defense side, we see Mr. Reborn on the Smoke and Ninja Freak on that Bandit, Rats on that Jaeger, and Korok on the Mute, and Vortex
10 seconds to
going
go.
to go with the Valkyrie. I suppose they're taking
5
the
seconds to
armory side
insertion.
again. At this time, we will see some
Attackers are heading
Valkyrie
out to defuse a
camps
bomb.
thrown
Defender is approaching
onto
a
that
kill
place.
zone.
Of course, that is one of the places that you should be placing your black eye on. I mean, I have seen that happening a lot, and that is one of the places that's going to help you to see whether the attackers are there to breach the walls or not.
You know, one aspect of this game I'm really loving is the combo between Mute and the
Bandit.
Blitz. Sorry, the Bandit, yeah. A little bit of a mind barf, but yeah, this combo has so much in the way of denying any kind of aggressive usage of utility, right? Alongside a Jaeger. So essentially, they're forcing Phoenix into taking these aim duels where Reckoning would be at the upper end. Bi- It's just having. It's just like playing a game of cards where you know exactly what your enemy is holding and you can start to counter it from the get go. It's borderline unfair to have this kind of trio, and on the defense, I don't really feel like it's going to be an easy one for Phoenix to breach. But when they start getting a hang of it, I feel like Reckoning will not have much in way of answers.
And we can see that vertical fight going on
Attackers have
between
dropped the bomb
Valkyrie and that attacker.
Wow.
However, Rats get the Infernus, and he gets refragged as soon as possible by
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
MacHawk.ex.
I feel like Rats shouldn't have taken the second peek there. He got the advantage, and after that, his priority should have been safety and falling back, or trying to club up with another teammate and potentially set up a crossfire. This could be a little iffy. Oh no! Shot looking the wrong way, caught between a rock and a hard place as Phoenix yet again. It seems like even if they get to a
Attackers
good
have
start,
recovered their
even if it's a
diffuser.
4 versus 4, it just melts down to such a disadvantageous position. Now the IQ trying to do as much as she can. The Valk does get caught off guard though, and for now, Phoenix are more than comfortable holding position, but the time is slowly boiling down. 55 seconds left on the clock as Phoenix will need to start making a move. The Buck. His position was discovered from the start by Valkyrie, but he's not moved as much. He's perhaps still trying to get the verticality in play, but that's simply not been his best friend thus far.
I suppose there is no hard breacher on this team. Like he has already died, and I suppose they have
Oh
to go in.
no!
However, that blast goes off, and it's
Attackers recovered the
2v1,
diffuser.
less than 30 seconds into the round, and Phoenix has the diffuser. However, it's up to IQ to go down and get the kills. Maybe he does get that very cheeky kill.
Why? Why did
Hypertushi
Reborn
getting
even
that
red
double.
reposition there?
Course.
Really
10 seconds
didn't make
left.
much sense. And now down to a 1 versus 1 Croc. He's trying to just wait towards the corridor. He's
5 seconds
here's the
remaining.
door being broken and he's trying to contest, but the time is so just it's just dead low. There's no way that
That was
yeah.
so close.
He knew
Only-
exactly what's happening. He was trying to just play around with him with the time, and yeah, at the end of the day, he didn't force the fight. A really smart round from Reckoning, I'd say. But I'm really having second doubts on Mr. Reborn and why he tried to reposition during that time because he knew the IQ was above. The IQ even fired off a couple of shots to try and disable one of the gadgets set in. I think it was one of the Valkyrie camps towards Armory. But right after you heard that shots, you should have been like, guys, Valk is right above. Do not move because the Buck did make a significant amount of room for the Valk to shoot from above. Sorry, for the IQ to shoot from above. So that should have been the communication, but yeah, that got down dangerously close for the considering the situation that Reckoning were in.
Of course, especially in the last few seconds, we saw that a little bit of Tom and Jerry happening there as IQ was chasing behind the mute and she
Attackers
barely
need to
missed
locate
that
and
shot.
defuse as many
Otherwise,
bombs as they
if she
can.
had a little bit time on her hands and mute was like running away from that place, she might have just gotten that mute and it would have been a win for them, the attackers at
Discovered
least.
the location of a bomb.
And right now, we see on the defense side, we have a Goyo and a bandit and a castle. Since they're taking the downside, the ventilation, I suppose. Not really, not the ventilation actually. It's the customs, I think. Yeah. If they're taking that way, I suppose they can go for the Goyo shields this time,
10
placing
seconds
So,
it
to
where
go.
it's needed.
so to those who are relatively new to Rainbow Six Siege, how would you like to
5
give an
seconds
introduction to
remaining.
Goyo? Again, not an operator we see used regularly, especially with the current meta,
Attackers are
but
heading
he's
out
still
to
an
defuse
effective
a bomb.
operator, right? So,
Of
what
course.
would your description of Goyo be to somebody who doesn't play Siege as much?
Goyo is one of those operators who was introduced alongside Amaru in the Operation Ember Rise. He is a defender with a gun similar to Mira's. He has a vector with in his hands, and a secondary would be the shotgun that Kaid carries. And his gadget is one of those. Actually, it is one of those crucial gadgets which made his pick rates go very like it made his pick rates go up in such a less time. His Vulcan shields, when placed in proper ways in the places where you actually need them, they can provide to be an excellent plant denier, at least a excellent entry denier for the attackers. Like if they're trying, let's just say if you're placing it in a door, and if you shoot at that red thing on that shield, it blows up, and there's fire everywhere. So let's just say if any attacker was near the shield, accidentally trying to take cover, and you shoot that shield, and they have a high chance of dying from that fire. So
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Vulcan shields, as we call it, the Goyo's shields are called the Vulcan shields, can be very OP when placed correctly.
And again, it comes down to knowledge and experience, just like this off angle being held. Oh boy, Reckoning Esports always finding a way to make back whatever disadvantage they are in. And it's the buck going down as well. So one aspect of verticality removed, but they still do have the sledge. So not much in way of heartache, although Reckoning are going a man down. Rats getting picked off single file. No refrag coming in from Reckoning as well. So it's going to be a little harder on the whole as the time
Attackers have located
depletes.
a bomb.
Phoenix need to get their way within a bomb site, which is being shut down as of now. Mind you, the Goyo is still up, so something to look after as he would be able to perhaps change the way he wants to approach this. He has a shotgun, so it's possible for him to get out of a hard situation if he's being stuck and put his back against the wall. He can just break the wall and find a new room to enter. 40 seconds left. Reckoning. So far, trying to just peep around, get a little bit of information, but that could have been a kill going the way of the Zafia. Sadly, no cigar.
My favorite part.
Of course, only 30 seconds into the round, IQ goes down and Vortex with double kill right there, 3v3, and it's up to Zofia and Shot and Infernus. They're trying to go into the site. However,
15 seconds
she
left.
sees the
Wow.
Goyo, and Goyo is like peekaboo, and
Yeah,
they did not
quick
see
kill.
that lag
Wow.
defender
Attackers have
right
recovered
there,
their
and they
diffusers.
just let the attackers go in mute with that very cheeky angle, sitting down right below the window.
Snake like that. Felt like
200
I was watching
IQ plays
PUBG,
right
but
there.
yeah. I'm surprised that nobody checked underneath. I thought it's a common thing ever since Frost was introduced to check underneath when you're jumping, but cool, I suppose. 5 to 4, Reckoning. Quick comeback, I'd say. Their first half wasn't that great, but they were able to make a lot of things work for them in the second half.
Of course, that could be the case. I did not see a lot of drones coming in, if they had any at least. The droning could have saved them from that mute who was waiting for his praise to come in. And in the defense round, we see once again mute being taken into the place and Goyo. Yes, of course, Goyo into the account.
Attackers
And
need to locate and defuse
on the
as many
attacking
bombs as
side,
they
we
can.
have the similar roster: IQ, Ash, Thermite, Buck, and Zofia. And this time, the bomb side being the armory office once again. The Vulcan shields will be proven to be very useful in such maps. I mean, in such sites at least, if Mr. Reborn is going to place them in places they need to be.
So far, it seems like they're going to
10
stick to
seconds to
this
go.
bandit mute combo, which has been a very
5 seconds remaining.
consistent duo that's been working for Reckoning.
Attackers are
Again,
moving out to
it
locate a
seems
bomb and
like
defuse it.
Reckoning is one of those teams where once they get comfortable with the draft and once they're able to be consistent with the draft, they really do not change a single aspect of it. And there are like arguments on this saying even though you win a couple of rounds on the back of a draft, if you change things up and it's a little unexpected, you might be able to catch the offense off guard, but it doesn't seem like Reckoning want to buy into it.
Of course, that could be the case, and we see the bandit is very low on his health so early in the round, and we see a vertical play coming from the buck.
I
I
can't
know that
believe
the
the
angle
Zofia
is
was
very
taken
good
down so
actually.
low as well. Like, it's gonna create a lot of problems because Zofia is one of those operators who likes to play a little more aggressive, and that low HP will deter her from doing so.
I just say what it's going for reckoning as True gets somebody on their claymore. And Zofia
And
was being picked up.
Defender
yeah,
is
Zofia
approaching
picked
Alpha.
up as
That
well, but
run
a
out.
beautiful pick from Rats. Straight up drive by 2 buck flashbacks. Shot, didn't see that one coming, and now with both the Buck and the Zofia being so dead low, Phoenix don't really have as much of a leverage to take a drawn out engagement. The IQ and Thermite, much of this round's going to be on their shoulders to try and pick this one up for Phoenix, as they've been deprived of a single round ever since the round swapped. Sorry, the role swapped.
And I suppose IQ is aware that somebody might be beside that window. She's trying to peek once again and again and again, and we see that the defender is being very
Attackers have dropped
confident
the bomb.
about that, and it goes
Defender
to
has
three v
left the
three. Mute
designated
trying to
staging
go
area.
back in, and he goes down. It becomes two v
Defender is
three in
exposed.
just 1 minute. It's 1v3, and it's all up to the Goyo to defend the sites. And he was caught in the crossfire, goes down, and the win is all for the attackers.
Well, a much needed round for Phoenix, lifting their hopes in the second half as they finally picked one up in what feels like an eternity, right? I think the last time they picked a round was when they were in the defense duty.
That could be true, but we can see that both the teams sitting on 5-5 and giving each other a very tough time, a tough competition, as I can say. And on the attacking side, we see True going with IQ and Shot with Nomad, Infernus with Thermite, Hypertushi with Buck, and Sophia is chosen by McHawk. And on the defending side, we see a Kaid coming into the play since they're taking armory lockers, and of course the mute, the so-called mute. Kaid, I would say that he could be using his utility to like like
Attackers need to
electrify the
locate and
walls,
defuse the
at least
bomb.
for the office walls, if mute is not there.
I
Like
feel
mute
like
could be
Kaid
using
might be
it
the
somewhere
piece for
else.
them to go aggressive as well.
Of course, it could be, but I am looking at they might be holding on to the office, but I didn't see Reckoning pushing through office last time, did they?
No, they didn't. They came in through the lower passages, if I'm not mistaken, and the corridors. I think they completely circumvented the office.
Was the word, and we see that
10 seconds left before insertion.
mute on the armory walls again. And yes,
5 seconds
as my
left before
predictions were
insertion.
right, Ninja Freak is kite and he is electrifying the
Attackers'
office
objective is to
walls
locate a
so
bomb
that
and
they
defuse it.
so that they don't really stand a chance to push even from the office. And onto the attacking phase, IQ goes on to her gadget to find any other gadgets nearby.
A bomb has been located.
Surprisingly, Reckoning haven't gone so aggressive as of yet. I assume by now they'd be getting the first pick under their belt. Phoenix being as patient as humanly possible, going in for as much drone work before they do commit to any spot.
And Buck on that vertical play again, and this particular angle can be so overpowering when you just lie down and take on to that angle. I mean, there was a Valkyrie. I think there was a Valkyrie lying beside that hole. I mean, only if she knew that someone was looking into the side. And Rats goes on with MacHawk.px early into the round, and Zofia goes down in the first few rounds. And Valkyrie didn't see that coming, and I suppose that was Buck who found out about her Hyperdushi getting that kill.
Yeah, Buck tucking her in, and the IQ really can survive for. If I'm not wrong, that's the Ash. No, it was the IQ. My bad. The IQ can survive for much longer. Reckoning taking away the man advantage, and mind you, Reckoning has been denied on 2 occasions just due to the Claymore. So half the map is cut out for them. Phoenix, they need to be worried about the rest half of the aggression, which doesn't seem to be working in their favor thus far. Shot, he's expecting the peak to come on spread any moment. No! Oh, that could have gone the other way pretty fast. Infernus manages to save him with the pistol. Phoenix, they maintain a man neutralized as of yet. But with the minute left on the clock, Reckoning, this is working all to their game plan. Just due to there being a mute, just due to there being Jaeger alongside him as well, it's gonna make it pretty hard for Phoenix to enter the bomb plant, let alone get the diffuser down.
40 seconds into the round, and it's up to the shot is very much low on the HP, and they are trying to shoot into the like from the AC vents right there, and it's Goyo and Jaeger and Smoke who are alive, and it was too soon for Jaeger. He goes down with Hyperdushi getting the double kills. It's 2v3 right now. 20 seconds into the round, and someone runs out. Mute gets that kill,
And that's the
on
diffuser
that.
down as well.
15 seconds
Beautiful play coming in from the
Attackers
Mute.
located a bomb.
Woo!
10 seconds to go.
2v1 into the round, and it's only 8 seconds left, and the diffuser is not with the attackers, and the attackers didn't see that coming, and Goyo backs a kill on Buck. An absolutely amazing and patient play by Reckoning.
This last 20 seconds were, I think, some of the most intense 20 seconds we've had the entire 2 days. The play coming in from Rats, if I'm not wrong, that's Rats, or that was Korok, who aggressed through the window, found and downed the diffuser. That was the play. That is the highlight. That is the reason why Reckoning even came close to winning this round, or else everybody else from Phoenix were converging onto the bomb side, and it would have just been a matter of time before the refrags came in, and it would have been Phoenix's round. But that intuition, that awareness to go for that play and to take that calculated risk is just beautiful to watch, and that's the reason Reckoning Esports have taken the lead and are 1 round away from closing this to a 2-0, which has been the case throughout the entirety of the tournament.
Defuse bombs.
Match point happening, and match point is happening, and we have the preparation phase going on the defense side. We have once again the Mute and Bandit combo, Jaeger, and the Smoke and Valkyrie, and on the attack side we have True on the IQ, and this time it's pretty much the same roster we saw from the last round, I suppose, but this time we don't see a Goyo around since they took the ventilation side, the defenders at least. The Reckoning, since it's the match point, I'm pretty sure they're going to play this even harder.
I gotta make these plays regardless whether they like it or not. I feel like that's what Reckoning slogan should be.
Objective is to defuse a bomb. The defender is approaching
Well,
the kill zone.
similar cam placement coming out from the Valk. This time around, they do have the IQ, so you would expect this to get removed. But I feel like Reckoning will use that to their advantage. As soon as IQ tries to come in with their gimmicks, Reckoning are gonna go on the peak and are gonna look for more than just a single kill.
That could be true with the Buck on that rappel, and I feel like they might be pushing through the office once again, and they might have just spotted a defender covering the office. And I see that the attackers are spread all over the Reckoning, and like at least the Nomad was near the AC vents, and the Buck is in the east balcony. He just knows somebody is right there. They are moonwalking at one place though. I mean,
Did he
that's
lag
a little,
out?
yes, he lagged out and leaves the
Oh
game.
no,
Vortex
at a
dot
very
Reckoning.
crucial point. Vortex. This can't be the reality, my friend. A man disadvantage, and they know exactly where the Bandit is playing from as well. They do take the... Oh, wow! Bandit actually wants up. He goes for the kill and gets a little more as well. Beautiful job from Ninja Tree. They've done good to find the equalizer, but Phoenix, they're not going to let go of this pretty soon. Down to a 2 versus 4 we go as Reckoning trying to claw their way back and try to deny overtime. But Phoenix, they are looking more hungry and determined than they ever have been. A quick play up, maybe? The smoke?
Attackers have located
This
a
is where it's
bomb.
going to be best at. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. Rats. He's not going to be all too lonesome towards the side. He's going to play from the low ground as well. Doesn't want to go and contest all to his lonesome. A lot of what this round's going to be is going to be on mute. Sorry, it's going to be on smoke and his ability to deny. A minute left on the clock now. Reckoning. All eyes going to be on them. Wow, that could have been a kill, but they were looking for this exact play. It's close to being telegraphed. The smoke comes in, buys a little bit more time. 55 seconds left on the clock. Phoenix, they are trying to recompose themselves and perhaps rendezvous before they finally spearhead their push towards the site. But they are losing valuable time. Rats holding the angle to perfection. And he's down half HP, but he's got this down to an even situation as the smoke finds yet another and trying to make a big play, but he gets caught off guard. And now it's all gonna be onto this. Kroko facing off against the Nomad. Who would come up on top? I suggest the Nomad might, but the diffuser drops at bay, and again, Croc, he doesn't need to force this engagement, but time is working against the Nomad. She might force the issue here, or she might fake the plan. A lot of possibilities up. She's making a lot of sound though for Croc to get intel and try to play off, and now that's pushed Croc to such an inferior angle. She could potentially force the plant, but Reckoning take the game rather. 2-0, and what a beautiful display of skill. Dismantling this 2 versus 4. From the get-go, it seemed like they had confidence and game in them. A beautiful combo of Rats and Croc to end this one. And my oh my, Reckoning, they look more powerful than ever.
With Rats being the MVP, let's just talk about how Smoke was so patient with his hold. He could have just gone and peeked that Nomad. No, he had to fall back a bit and waited for that Nomad to show up. Even if they had a one-man disadvantage in the beginning, yet they were able to pull this off for themselves and prove that they were the true MVP of this match.
Exactly, you know, well played from Reckoning all throughout this best of 3. Even though it didn't seem like they had as much control as they did in day 1, it seems like they are in their comfort zone for now. When you give them a draft that they like and they can play, there's nothing in the world that will stop them from trying it and being on rinse and repeat. And like they showed on both Coastline and Border, it doesn't matter what you throw at their face. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work for a round, if it doesn't work for 2 rounds. They have confidence in what they've come up with as a game plan, and that really has to be attributed with a huge amount of trust on both their own ability and the read that the coach has brought into the game, right? And yeah, overall, it should set us up for one banger of a grand finals. We should have the grand finals live at about 6:30 between TBD and Reckoning Esports. A best of 3 to decide who's going to take the crown for this tournament. Before we do go off the stream for a quick break, a huge shout out to our sponsors to make this tournament possible. Display partner Samsung, partners WD Black, Colorful, and Games the Shop. A huge shout out to NVIDIA as well to bring this tournament to a life. Any closing remarks on this game and your predictions for the finals as well, Terenius?
As always, Reckoning Esports, they played it out quite well. And as always, like when the defense round comes to them, when the defense round comes to any of the teams, they become buff. I mean, I suppose the border was Reckoning Esports. It was chosen by them, Reckoning
No,
Esports.
Reckoning Esports chose map 1. This
Okay,
is
map 2.
Phoenix
Even
Esports' map
even
pick.
if they chose something else, yet we can, like, it shows how well versed they are with the game. At least even in the, like, in the final rounds when they lost one man, they lost a Valkyrie, and it was just like, it was a 6v5. They could have lost it, and it was down to just Smoke, who decided to play it well. Like, instead of just going out and peeking at the Nomad, he decided to just play it nicely and wait for the Nomad to show up in front of him, and he just got the kill. it was a very interesting round, in fact.
Well, that's it gonna be from us today. For now, do tune in back at 6:30 for the grand finals. We'll be off for a short break. See you then, and bring in all your energy and your popcorn.
The moment of creation is a form of magic, where an off becomes an on, a zero becomes a one, then another, and another, until, deep in the complexity, you discover order, speed, reliability, power. Experience the WD Black NVMe SSD. Fueled by darkness. Level up to NVMe SSD performance.
To become who we are. This is my moment. I got a most exciting time. It's all about humanity.